this is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just ready to talk about a lot of wrestling, and it seems like this past weekend just kind of crept up on us out of nowhere as like one of the bigger wrestling days of the year, if not like the biggest when you look at all the things that happen around the world. You got Triplemania popping off, you got Super J Cup, you got Impact's pay-per-view.
Best in Super Junior World Tag League on Saturday or Friday. Yeah, it's
all that stuff just kind of coming out of nowhere and landing at the same time, essentially. So we got, a bunch of stuff. We're not going to get to all of it, but, it's been quite a week. And, ever since, my dog Kenny, got the, got the belt, it's just been nonstop excitement.
So this is an audio or medium. So what Rich did is he pulled out the Kenny Omega AEW World Championship shirt out, I guess in accordance with Kenny winning so like y'all didn't see that, but y'all unfortunately didn't see that, but maybe we can recreate it or something in gift form for the folks. Like maybe you can put that up on Twitter or something. But yeah, but yeah, it was very much. Did you pop champagne in any time in the last 2 weeks?
I mean, I don't know if it was champagne, right? But I've just been very happy to see all the excitement that has been generated across the wrestling world, and then the derangement that this has caused, and the backwalking and like the insanity that has caused, because it's almost like somebody told them this would happen months ago.
So it was funny because like. They did was a 995,000 views for this week's episode of Dynamite, which I believe was better than the title match from the week before. Winter is Coming, and like Kenny Omega went off to talk. He's been on Twitter going off people, which is like I don't think he's been in this mode since. I don't think he's been in this mode since he was calling Dijak Donovan dickhead. So. He's clearly in heel troll mode and whatever, but like he shot some line about Shaq. He said, "I know y'all don't think this was Shaq that did it," and then like Meltzer came behind him like a couple hours later. Was like actually like the top quarter hour in drawing was the Shaq quarter hour. I was like, damn. I was like, what are we doing now? We're about to have. Are we going to have a Kenny Omega Shaq feud?
Yeah,
like, who gives a shit? Like. Yeah. It's doing great because they're doing great work with Kenny Omega and the show in general, and especially on top. So like, I don't really care, but whatever. Like, I'm sure there's something to do with the presence of Inside the NBA on TNT at that time. But whatever. Like, we'll see. We'll figure this out eventually. But like, what we do know is. Shaq is a very popular motherfucker, and we do know that Kenny Omega is a very popular motherfucker as well. Like, I don't want
to... hey, that Kenny derangement syndrome, like, it's out there, bro.
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also, it was also a good week for the people that were like, yeah, Kenny Omega is an Observer Hall of Famer, dumbasses. Like, what's wrong with you? It's like, it's so
immediately,
it's so
like, this man decided, like, that man went to the Observer Hall of Fame and was like, all right.
Seems like it, yeah.
Hangman match, title match, Triplemania match, popping Impact's ratings, the ratings between this week and last week. It's been a great time to stunt if you're a Kenny Omega fan right now.
Yeah, it's so weird because, like, I don't necessarily call myself a diehard Kenny Omega fan. I am a fan, but, like, I'm not just like he's my favorite wrestler or anything. But it's just weird. Like, I like the dude, so it's like when people say certain things, it's like, look, man, I'm not in love as everybody else is, but, like, at the same time, like, some of the hating is like, what did he do to y'all? What, like, I don't, it's like, it's not even like, it's a step similar to, like, the Roman Reigns thing where, like, yes, Roman is mostly unproblematic, and, like, your biggest issue is that, like, he's pushed him down your throats before he was ready, but, like, after you get past, like, the first year of that, like, he kind of grew into the role, so it's like, at that point, it's like, what are we really complaining about? Other than his bad booking, of course, but that has nothing to do with him. Like, with Kenny is like, I've never seen a day where he's been booked necessarily poorly either. So it's like, he's a great fucking wrestler. He doesn't really do or say anything crazy aside from the time he wants to get into his whatever he's doing on Twitter. Like, I don't see the reason why people hate this dude so much. It's kind of weird. Just weird. Like, everywhere he's been, like, there's this weird fandom of people, or like a subsect of people in whatever promotion he's in that just doesn't like him. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, the LIJ fans and the pure
I've been trying to figure this out for years.
Like, people that love
bro, and when you think about it in Japan, Kenny Omega took the long way to the top in Japan. He started in an indie promotion in Japan. Like what's not to like?
Well, it's the, he leapfrogged over Naito to this thing, even though Naito was a heel at the time. Let that go. No, but the thing about it is, like, that it doesn't make sense. Naito was a heel at the time. Like, so who gives a shit?
Look, Naito won the title in 2016, but their problem is they never appreciate nothing.
They never appreciate nothing. No, it's whatever. Like, I don't know, but
like that man took a long way. That man took over 10 years in Japan to reach the fucking mountaintop. Like, I'm sorry, y'all tripping. Like,
yeah, like, I understand he has some inherent advantages that, like, other people in his spots don't get because, like, they're not white guys, but, like, it's the same, and to me, I don't understand. It's like, is the dude talented or not? Yeah? Like, are you upset because he got pushed, he's white and they're trying to expand? Like, I'm talking to you, also American guy. Like, it's weird. Like, I get.
I'm like, okay, then how about Kenny Omega go unlearn that Japanese language that I'm sure was very hard for him to learn? How about that then?
Yeah.
Like,
it's weird. I don't know. It's like, look, man, I understand he's a big part of the Western expansion and people feel like there's people love to, like, hate the politics of pro wrestling as if it's like, when has there ever not been?
It's like,
do people think AEW is some meritocracy? Because I can tell you right now, like, they hire all the friends. like, it's just, do they do good work or not? Like, I don't get into the favorites thing. Well, I mean, whatever.
I just think I think it comes down to, like, when New Japan was getting popular over here, the guy that people, despite, the people that had already been watching, the people they were in love with, it wasn't their guys that was, like, causing the excitement that they were putting on top when they were breaking through into America. It was Kenny, and it wasn't their dudes. So, like, and I think there's natural resentment for that for a lot of those folks. So,
I guess, like, I don't know. I just find it weird because, like
they let this linger. This man left a promotion and they let it linger.
Because I think you're onto something.
Let it linger.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think you're actually onto something with that because, like, I watched Stardom and people hate B Priestley to the point where, like, you go on her cage match and you see, like, people don't rate on her matches like they should.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay. Like, for example, she had a match with Micah that went to a 15-minute draw on last weekend, right? It's 3.5, 3 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
No votes. No votes.
They don't even want to vote on it. They say, I'm not even going to hate on it. I'm going to just ignore. Right. Hope it goes away.
Yeah, no votes. And then I looked through like some of the ratings I've had for B match since she's came back. Because remember, she came back like at the Grand Prix final, right? I'm looking through them. She's had a few matches. Like the only match I think that's rated that I have is like recommended and for sure 3.5, 3 3/4 or 4 is her match with Shuri. That's it. But she's had like 4 matches that should be up there, and I'm just like, okay, something weird is going on. It's like, hey man, we're past the part where she's a champion. She's not the red belt champion anymore. When we're still doing this, it's weird. And it's not like not like, you know, she is like at the top of Stardom anymore. Like she is a mid-card wrestler right now. Right? This is weird. Whatever. I don't know. I just seeing this like, I don't get it. Like, do people hate Chris Brooks?
A lot of subsection. You got the Cornette people.
Do you think Chris Brooks?
You got the Cornette people, of course.
Yeah. You said the Cornette people. Yeah.
Yep. You got the Cornette people. You just have your WWE loyalists, like, who don't watch anything, and that's fine if you just want to watch one promotion. But
I understand that
some of the stuff that's out there that comes from them.
I understand that.
He's like you can't. I think he just catches it in the line of fire from a lot of different directions. And I was explaining to Floyd, I was like, I tend to gravitate towards these type of people that tend to catch it from lots of different directions, like Kobe, like Russ, like Kenny Omega.
Except for LeBron. LeBron's like the only person in the NBA that's like really like, let me phrase this. LeBron before he became a Laker. Like, think how many fan bases he used to piss off. He's supposed to go to the Knicks, or the Knicks convinced themselves he was going to go there. Didn't show up there. He's a Bulls killer. Chicago. He's a Celtics killer ever since he left Cleveland the first year. Huge flagship franchise. He's the guy that's in the way of Kobe. So that involves all of the Laker fandom for forever. Like, so all of those fan bases, all those top fan bases hate LeBron's guts until that man basically like either A, went back to Cleveland and won that title, or B, became a Laker so the Laker fans got off his back.
So you're with me in saying that this is a calculated move by LeBron to try to, like, you know, to ease himself into that Lakerdom, you know, to get some of that.
I always thought, we talked about this before, like, the move back to Cleveland was calculated. We talked about that for years ago.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the Lakers move, I don't know so much of that being a calculated move or as much as my family / me just wants to move to LA. The Lakers happen to be there.
Hey, the Clippers was there, you know.
You don't go to the Clippers if you're LeBron James. Remember, he back in 2010, he was one of the during the decision. Did they give them a meeting? Didn't the Clippers get a meeting?
They did. Yeah, I believe they got a meeting.
They finished behind the Knicks, and the Knicks showed up with what's his name? Oh my God, the exec that used to be with the Pacers. He ended up at the Knicks. He did the meeting in a wheelchair.
Donnie Walsh?
Yes! Donnie Walsh was in a wheelchair trying to pitch LeBron to come to the Knicks. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that, but I remember Donnie Walsh.
Yeah. Donnie Walsh had got picked up by the Knicks. They were all in on trying to get him there and all that, and then they went to that damn meeting. That man had a neck brace on. Like, why do you have a neck brace on? Like, that might be the...
Like I was saying...
That might be the most random neck brace thing I can remember. Like, even including, like, Vince in a steroid trial with a neck brace on. It's like, what? Why do you have a neck brace on? What happened?
Simpy. But, like I was saying, like, I see, like, Kenny Omega catches from lots of different directions, and then, like, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm about to ride for my dog.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, it's been a great couple weeks. Let's just say that. And it's amazing. Like, they've literally, like, flipped the switch on this man. Like, and was like, all
I
right.
don't know if it's flipping.
Okay, I won't say that.
He was already somebody that was
has always been protected, always had all the wins,
always had direction. Super,
always had the stuff.
Yeah.
But they were like, okay, it's time to like put you on top now. Gotcha. And then he just like walked in and was like, I don't know if I've been like, is like, don't get it wrong. I love Moxley's title reign and everything like that. But like the culture has shifted since this belt has changed. The culture has been moved.
I guess you could say that. Sure. Like it's hard for me to say that the culture has been changed by doing some shit on Impact. I don't like Kenny's great, but who gives a fuck about him? I'm still like, I don't care. I'm sure I'll see what Kenny does on Impact or whatever. Eventually, I'll get around to it, like the day after or the night of or whatever else. But like, I really don't give a shit about Impact. Like if whatever Kenny does or AEW does, I'll be sure to check for that. But like, as far as Impact itself, I don't care. Like, when I saw that someone sent a video in the thread of Kenny Omega having something with Carl Anderson, I was like, I'll only watch this if there's an assurance that, like, Kenny Omega is big leaguing that man and pretending he doesn't know who the fuck Carl Anderson is. Then I'll watch it. Be like, Kenny! Yeah? Carl, you remember me? Nah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, I was, New Japan, I made the 2012 G1 final. You made a G1 final?
Nah, it's funny that you say that because, like, Kenny was like, nah, man, I want to see the old Carl. He's like, I want to see the Carl that was in the 2012 G1 finals. He said, you can't beat this guy under 2 minutes? That guy wouldn't have needed 2 minutes.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. But, yeah, popping numbers all over the place. Impact, 65 times normal the number.
That's what it was?
Twitch. Yeah, bro. Normally they do, like, 1 to 3,000. When he was on screen, they had like 55,000 and they were like top 3 on Twitch for the night or whatever. And, I believe there was an NFL game going at the same time on Twitch and it only had like 9,000 viewers or something like that. Okay. So, yeah, like, and then the, regular viewership, I think they went up a decent percentage as well. So like, I don't know. It's been a great couple weeks and, I'm excited. So, Let's move forward.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are less exciting, I don't have a bad transition. I don't have a good transition for it, but because we kind of went out talking about Kenny for a while, but WWE talk. Next week there will be a pay-per-view, TLC pay-per-view. We'll get you a preview for that, probably midweek, but there is some wrestling news, and it's not necessarily the greatest in the world. Word has come out that Keith Lee and a number of other people, like, who's the dude with AJ Styles? What's his name?
Almost.
Yeah. Almost, and was it Babatunde as well?
Babatunde, all the black dudes, and Otis.
Okay. I didn't know
Babatunde
was black. I had no idea. I thought he might have been like Samoan or something. Whatever. That beige. It's I didn't want to make no guesses, but okay. And Otis as well, are going back to the PC or doing, extra time at the PC to effectively learn how to work at the behest of, or at the encouragement of, Vince McMahon. Apparently there's some things that he does not like. I can understand that for, some of them. I really don't. Sorry?
Mace from Retribution.
Yeah, Brendan Williams. I can understand that for people, for inexperienced people like Mace and, almost. I'm gonna keep on almost. It's Amos, but it's with an O, so it's Almost.
Or Almost. I don't know.
Whatever his name is, AJ's bodyguard. And Babatunde, I can understand that. I don't necessarily understand that for Keith Lee or for Otis. Those are people that I've seen have a number of good matches. People that kind of know what they're doing. But whatever. I don't think this bodes well for Keith Lee's future. That, this is the kind of thing that you hear, that you've heard, be thrown at Mark Henry or a Big Show, where like, does Vince think this person is lazy just because he doesn't have a 6-pack?
I don't know what it is, but the Keith Lee, I'm just going to say it, that everyone loved in Evolve, even in NXT to a point, is going to be dead and gone, y'all. And I remember when he got that win over Randy Orton, and it was like the win, I was like, they didn't let him do anything impressive. And then now with this coming out, when you take away everything that Keith Lee did that got him over in PWG, Ring of Honor, NXT, and you strip him down to working like the junkyard dog, how it seems like they want him to wrestle, you really don't have anything that makes him stand out except being big and black. Like, his punches, like, let's keep it a buck. Keith Lee's punches thing. But the answer is, don't make him punch. But obviously, this isn't how this company works. So, it's weird because when you cut these guys' legs off and tell them not to do what got over, they're probably confused. And now they're working in an unnatural kind of thing. What's worked for Keith Lee everywhere probably will not keep working for him body-wise as he continues to, get larger, as he continues to get older. Like, so this may actually help his, the length of his career, by quote unquote, just start working the big man WWE style. But like, I'll tell you, people are not going to love Keith Lee as much. And which will lead to him not being as over, which will lead to him eventually just being on the show. We've already talked about how he's been mishandled from the music to the finishes, and now Vince McMahon with the
don't forget his gear.
With the gear, yes. They've chronically fucked this guy from every step of the way since like they put them double belts on him. Like, I don't know what the fuck is to this. This is like, and then he was on Main Event this week with Angel Garza. So right now I'm like, well, where's the positive here? Like, what has been the good part? Anyone know? Please let me know. And I've seen the defenses, like, what athlete wouldn't want to get, more training? Athletes train all the time. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right.
Oh God, well, that's so stupid.
I'm like, well, none of these athletes are being sent with a directive
that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Exactly.
Right. Like, it is not promising. Could Keith Lee recover from this? Keith Lee is a talented wrestler. However, we've seen with WWE,
just the talented wrestlers.
Lots of them. And it's like, well, are they going to pick you? So, and if they don't pick you, it's like, he's going to be like, all right, I did all this, changing my style and all this stuff. It's weird, man, because for me, it's like, why not let the guy do what he's comfortable with and what's got him over? Like, you already have the answer. What gets him over? But Vince has different ideas, as normal.
Like, it seems like depending on what side of the bed Vince gets up on, he changes his mind arbitrarily on a whim, right? Like, Austin breaks his neck from a power driver. So for the next, that was 97, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically for the next nearly, over 20 years, like, no one's allowed to do, or 22 years roughly, no one's allowed to do tombstones, power drivers except for, Undertaker. And then, like, except for, the Cena and, CM Punk thing. So then, I don't know, he sees a Canadian Destroyer for the first time and is like, why the hell don't we do that, pal? This is a power driver, Vince. Well, fuck it, let Ray do it. We trust him. And it's like, it's just so arbitrary. It's weird, like, how this stuff goes. Like, they change their mind from time to time. There's reasons for it, then it changes, and the reason why things weren't allowed, weren't good ideas, and all of a sudden the thing that changes makes even less sense why is, being lifted is like, look, man, I'm not even gonna get into the whole point about like the booking. I'm just talking about like the infrastructure is so whacked out, and it's causing all these problems for this company for the talent. Like, I don't understand, like, aside from the money and the higher platform, if you are a wrestler, what does WWE have to give you? Like, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like the best place for morale. It doesn't seem like the best place for artistic fulfillment. It doesn't feel like the best place in the world if you're a promo guy. It doesn't seem like the best place in the world if you're a work rate guy. It doesn't seem, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know what this is other than, I mean, I know what it is. It's like, it's not pro wrestling. It's a content factory at this point. But, like, the pandemic, it's crazy that, like, this is number one most successful wrestling company in the world, but, like, the pandemic has laid it bare that, like, they are the worst at adapting to anything. Like, they've handled their pandemic television is the worst of any promotion I've watched this year. It's completely made, like, they've gotten worse when, like, they should be they've been taping stuff 2 weeks at a time at times. When they know what they have, because the people have them be off the shelf, which means you should be able to rally behind it and have rules and be able to focus in on what your ideas are, because you already know you have one hand tied behind your back or whatever else, and it's still all over the place. Like, what is the moment of the year for WWE? 2020. Like, last year was easy. It was Kofi.
Look, Edge coming back.
Huh?
Look, I don't care, but Edge coming back?
I mean, sure. Yeah. What would be second?
Royal Rumble, surprise Royal Rumble.
Yeah. What would be second? Like, I would say the Edge thing's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's like, the Edge thing is also like, that is necessarily nothing of your doing aside from you clearing a guy. Like, you could have done that in 2019, you could have done it in 2018, you could have done it in 2021. Correct. Like, that's nothing. Like,
look, had Edge not told that man it was an offer on the table, that man might not be cleared right now.
But I don't necessarily mean it that. I just mean, like, okay, like a return for somebody that you thought was done or was away for a while, like a Roman return, a Daniel Bryan return. This Edge thing is like, that's not necessarily your mastermind booking. That's just like the grace of fate. You know what I'm saying? So, so, alright, so what, after Edge, what else?
I ain't got really too much for you. Like, Becky announces that she's pregnant.
That's another act of fate. That's another act of fate. She got pregnant.
To do with you.
Yeah, they got shit to do with your booking. Maybe McIntyre beating Brock. Maybe.
Yeah, but you know, in a total moment. Empty arena.
Is it some great moment? No, not necessarily, because it is empty, like you said. But like, that was of their doing. They did orchestrate that. So, so I would put that up there high. I will put that up there high.
I feel like I'm forgetting
Roman's
something.
awesome heel turn, I guess.
I don't know. Like, he like, imagine if he turned on somebody that we gave a fuck about.
Oh, aside from turning on Braun Strowman in the field.
Yes. Like,
I wasn't necessarily mean the singular moment as much.
Like, it's just like, oh, he's just working. He's doing a heel now. Like,
I get you.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's soulless, it's dry, and it's like nothing I'm interested in.
Yeah. And like, we got off track here like we normally do, but like this, like, to tie back to the Keith Lee thing, is just, it's like, it goes back to the NWA, the NXT thing of Triple H telling us, like, we are doing these things to get them ready for the main roster, when in fact, like, nah, man, like, this is, like...
Look, why wasn't Nia Jax sent back down?
Right. Like, this is more like college or college basketball, where, like, you go to a school that's a blue blood program, like in North Carolina, and, like, there's not much in the way of NBA player development as much as it is like, we recruit talent and we hope that it stays for 3 or 4 years. and that's NXT. But then, like, someone gets pulled up, it's like, hey, well, yes, it was a late lottery. These are late lottery picks. These aren't, necessarily top 5 picks, traditional top 5 picks. And even the ones that are, like, they didn't get the development they should have. Like, this isn't a Kentucky, this isn't a Duke. And it's like, I don't necessarily know who to blame, because you say that it's development in a third brand, and you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth all the time. Like, this is, you're ultimately, like, you're serving one master more than the other, but, like, as far as or at least at one point in time with NXT being just a gigantic match factory, but if this was in fact to get people to develop into being ready for the main roster and the bright lights of Raw and SmackDown and being on the road or whatever else, then, like, you have to say that NXT is nothing but a gigantic failure. And I'm not saying that as part.
When you were going to bring that up,
and I'm not saying that that's on the part all at the feet of Triple H, because obviously it's not. It's Vince McMahon not giving a fuck about trying to push anybody for some weird reason. Like, he's pushing everybody to the middle. Like, it's just a gigantic batch of middle. I just don't know, man. Like, Chad talks about this.
Like, the longer it stays around, like, the PC is just like, I started bringing up this scam concept in, like, 2018, and this has thrust it back into the light again, where you kind of ask what NXT is for, and
it's so Charlotte can get a rub.
Yeah, correct. All right, there's another one. It's like, all right, we can have Charlotte go in there and win this belt or whatever, and still do something with her. It's a place to play defense against the rest of the world. It's a place to start doing these global localizations and opening up these performance center and spending all this money we ain't never gonna fucking get back, just out of just to lock people up and kill entire continents like the UK. To take Walter off the streets, essentially. Like, and then it's like, all right, you have all your Otises, your Lacey Evans, your Tuckers, all these people, like, none of them have to ever become stars that headline takeovers. Elias, like, these are like, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, and then you got your dudes that are sitting in NXT forever, just clogging up the pipeline and not moving on. And it's like, this whole thing, the longer it goes, the more it gets exposed. And I feel like I saw this coming a long time ago, and it's only with AEW around has accelerated it even more. And the pandemic has accelerated it even more when they're forced to create, when they're forced to, like, come up with ideas, like, as far as, like, we're going to do cinematic matches now. And then it's like, they've gave into the worst instincts of the bookers, like of Shawn Michaels, of Triple H. And it's just like, I think it's just something a lot of people have. I feel like they have this fond memory of NXT, what it was from, like, a couple years ago. And even, like, the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn era of NXT now, the further we get away from it. And it's like, it don't feel the same. And now with Lee in this getting sent down, you're thinking it's just like, this entire place is bullshit. Like, right. like that's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, think of the call-ups from this year, right? Like, they called up Bianca and Shayna. They've done jack shit with Bianca after having her be, like, the fucking destroyer of worlds in the Royal Rumble. And apparently that was on short notice. She didn't realize she was going to be in the Royal Rumble until, like, the day before. She had 24 hours notice she was going to be in there. She did that, and then it's like, great job. Now let's do nothing with you for a whole, like, 9 months. Or at this point, 11 months.
To Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Let's have them, mop you, on the way to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Like, Shayna, we're supposed to, you're going to be the match for Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. So we would have you in the Rumble normally, but, like, we decided at the last second not to, and have Charlotte win it because apparently she was promised to win it last year, and Becky won it because Becky got hotter than the fucking sun. It's like, what kind of of shit is that? Like, will you promise me? Well, I'm sorry, Charlotte. Like, I'm sorry that someone got like 10 times harder than you've ever been in pro wrestling. Sorry. Like, what the fuck? And it's not like I don't begrudge this against Charlotte. It's like, hey man, like if someone promised me something, I'd be like, hey, you owe me this. You told me so. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, give me what you told me I was owed. So, but. At the same time,
we're probably going to talk about it on the Fuck Out of Here draft, but bro, I'm starting to think like Charlotte's 2019 or her 2020, which was like more destructive, kind of like the shoehorning into WrestleMania, or like what the fuck happened this year, like because it's just like both of them are like nuclear bombs in different directions. I feel like.
I would say 19 is the worst because 19 was her worst like work as a performer in ring ever. Like 2018, she was awesome. 19, she was like basically ever since we saw her, she was a good ass or a great wrestler, except for 2019, and then 2020 comes around, she has great matches again. It's like, what happened in this year-long period? Was your confidence shaken, or was it just you being fucked with, or what happened here? So I would say definitely 19. I would have to blame it on 19.
So she probably was like, all right, I'm gonna lay it down. Go ahead.
Night television?
Yep, about to lay it down. You go ahead and let Mickey run with that shit. I'm about to save myself.
Man. So, we got, so just like you look at these call-ups, NXT from this year, we mentioned Bianca, we mentioned Shayna, Keith Lee's obviously one in there. You look at everybody that's in Retribution and like, they're just all shot now at this point. Dijak after starting off, Dijak when he started off, when he was defiant about how like, we're gonna clown you. This actually is gonna work. And now he's out like, yeah, it's, he's tweeting like he realizes the reality he's in now. Which sucks is like, how do you not even give Dijak a try? He's tall as hell. He's athletic as hell. He has a great physique. Like, give him a manager. Fuck. Like you couldn't put Paul Heyman with him and make that dude into at least upper mid Carter. Given how that man can wrestle, but maybe it's a situation where like he does too much stuff. He doesn't know how to work. He might be one of those. When is he going back to the PC?
Right.
It's like, dude, he's like 270, 280, and he can do flips to the floor and Hurricane Ranas. I don't give a flying fuck if, like, what was it? The McGee and Bret Hart match was such a big deal last year or whatever else, and as far as it being this lost tape and all of that. And like, McGee is a gigantic motherfucker that did flips or whatever else. It's like, so Vince, in 30 years have passed, or whatever it is, and now the guys that can flip now in 2020 are the ones that can't work, but not McGee back then, when he's getting carried by Bret. What? You see what I'm saying about how arbitrary and weird his rules are and his mindset flips through stuff? Is like, you should be more likely to be into people flipping now, not 30 years ago.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. But yeah, since we're talking about it, Keith Lee, let's transition over, there were projected or speculated on, matches for WrestleMania 37. One includes Keith Lee, which now it seems like that I can't see it happening, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Mind you, these are not coming from Dave.
Right.
These are coming from like, I believe the WrestleVotes Twitter account. So
yeah, so huge grain of salt. But they do make sense, or at least two of them make sense. Keith Lee is projected to be in a WrestleMania match with, Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar for presumably the WWE title. Brock Lesnar is still not under contract, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so that means he would have to sign on again and come back. I don't know how that would work. Like, would they would have to explain the Heyman double duty thing between Raw and SmackDown with Lesnar and Roman, and when they squash the beef off camera, or explain that Heyman just, they're both clients, they will not interact, we keep them away on both shows, my job is to start a Heyman empire on Raw and SmackDown, whatever. But they will have to explain that, like, Heyman is doing both, you
probably put way more thought into it than they would.
Yes, yeah, I know I have. They wouldn't even bother explaining. He was like, whatever. They don't like explaining stuff for heat. Mm-hmm. It's like, great. Bad storytelling for heat. On paper, that's a great match. McIntyre, Lesnar, and Lee sounds like a great match. After Keith Lee's been deprogrammed or debugged of excitement, I don't know. I'm less so enthused.
Very kind of strange match. I've seen enough three-way matches. I'm just like not the biggest fan of them, especially in WWE where it's like one guy just rolls out the ring and then comes back in. And it's funny. I think they're much more exciting in the video games than in real life. But nevertheless, it just seems like we'll get to it, when you talk about the other two matches. But, we just going to run this shit back that we couldn't do last year. This year.
So I guess we move on and talk about the next match. Projected match of the WWE Universal title between Roman Reigns and Bill Goldberg. This was the match that was on schedule for WrestleMania 36, but the pandemic happened. Roman Reigns said, fuck y'all, I'm out of here for months. And they end up sliding that over to Braun Strowman. I thought I get the marketing behind the match. It's obvious. Spear versus spear. Very simple. Last year I thought, yeah, Roman can get a good 5 minutes out of him and, do their thing. I have not watched a Goldberg match since, I can't remember. I did not watch Saudi Arabia match where he hit a shot brainbuster on Undertaker. So, and that was what, like Blood Money 4 or 3?
That was last year. That was 2019. So then he went back and fought The Fiend earlier this year in Saudi Arabia and took the belt from him.
Right. And I didn't see that match though, so I have no idea. I can't speculate.
God awful.
How long did it go?
2.5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay. Was it god awful because of the Fiend stuff, or was the work that bad in 2 minutes?
That bad. Bad of a decision. That bad of work. Couldn't even do the jackhammer to him. I don't know if Wyatt sandbagged him or whatever, but it was horrible. Like that finish, it looked like a suplex. Like it was bad. Like
it looked like a suplex. The jackhammer is a suplex.
Nah, because he how he normally gets them up
and pauses at the top. Yeah, I know,
bro. It looked like he just kind of rolled over. Like it was like it wasn't. He didn't quite, But then you get to WrestleMania with him, and it's just like bell rings, do your spear 4 times in a row, end of match, or miss spear, get the finish done to you, end of match. I'm like, I don't want to see it. Fuck out of here. That's not wrestling. Like that's not anything compelling. Like I don't understand this. So the funny thing was, after Sting shows up at AEW, all the bad faith stuff with the memes that we talked about on this show, I believe people with, talking about Goldberg, shows that that's just like Sting, and it's like totally not. And then for y'all saying all y'all had to do is say Goldberg and make him trend and do all this shit, and he comes out like Candyman when you say his name to show up for a world title match. I just would like to know, how does it taste? Like, how does that immediate boot to the mouth, like taste like as soon as you came out here capping that you're going to have to go ahead and deal with this?
I guess you reap what you sow. Yeah, man, like, it would be hilarious if the SEO, caused this. Like, the needle went up and they're like, wait a minute. Is it Goldberg time again for y'all? Is that what the people desire? Is this what they aspire for? Is this what they want in these streets? And all of a sudden it's like, well, let me get on the phone to Billiam, because, you know, he's on retainer. They basically have him on retainer like a lawyer. So, you know, that could be possible. You know, I think they can have a fun match. I think they have a fun match based on each other. I think they can. But, you know, regardless of if this match happens, like, Roman's going to win. So, I'm not really concerned about it. Like, whether by hook or crook you're gonna win. Maybe Jey Uso come out with a cattle prod. Tase his ass. And then the third match, Randy Orton versus Edge in what will be the rubber match between the, was it a street fight at WrestleMania this year? What was that match called? What's the specific stip?
I think it was an I Quit match, wasn't it?
I don't think it was an I Quit match. Was it an I Quit match? Or was it a Fall Count Anywhere?
I think it was Falls Count Anywhere.
Yeah. So, first match, Falls Count Anywhere. Second match, greatest match ever, where they tape the match and they have fucking cameramen in the ring while they do spots in the ring. Like, it's ridiculous. But, like, it was still a great match for however many times they did it or recut whatever edit was. Like,
Last Man Standing, that's what it was.
Last Man Standing. Okay, so
36 minutes.
Yeah.
Longest. Like, bro, it says 36 minutes on there. It was more like 66 minutes, bitch.
Yeah. Like, we was early on. I was like, I was into the match at first, and then, like, Josh like, bro, this match sucks. And then it kept going, and I was like, Josh might be right. And then it kept going, I was like, yeah, Josh is right. It's not good. This is not good. And, you know, it made Edge just so upset or whatever else, and it's like, bro, like, people didn't like this one match. Relax, bro. Like, people like the other matches since you came back and your promos and everything else. This one thing is the only thing they don't like, and like, this is what you decide to, like, you know, like, just obsess over. It's like, I'm not necessarily obsessed
with Kevin Hart,
but it's like, wow. But like, it's like, bro, like, there's one criticism, like 99 criticisms, 99 positive things, one criticism been like, you focus on the one. I guess. But yeah, third match possibly. I mean, I can see it. I understand it. It makes sense to me as far as a long-term story. But yeah, we'll see what they do live.
I would say, what if Edge could wrestle like a younger person, like, and put that younger person over, but like, ain't nobody for him to fucking wrestle. Like, didn't knowing that they're fucking gonna go with, so.
I mean, yes, there's that, but it's also, it's like, that's not what WWE does. Even if there was a, I don't know, even if, like, Montez Ford blew up, or Dominic blew up, or Buddy Murphy, or whoever else, like, they would just get them in the ring, have a couple matches with some fuck finishes at the end, Edge would win. Not saying that's right or wrong, but, like, that's the MO for WWE. Like, you have a legend that's coming back to wrestle some dude that's not going to be in the main event with them. They're going to roadhouse that person so they eventually get to the person they want to, like the Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton or, you know, Cena when Cena's still around, to lose to. That's just how that goes.
Well, I'll tell you, putting Andrade in there with Edge would be nice.
Wow. You know, I mean, he ain't doing nothing. What's Andrade doing? Is he even on TV anymore?
Not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that was a thing. I mean, unless you want to talk more about the Charlotte Flair
news
news
back. The Charlotte news.
Yeah, how, like, there was leaks out of people from NXT apparently about their frustration with the booking of Charlotte, NXT, how they were trying to do certain things like insert Bianca Belair to eat the pin and make it a 3-way to try to spotlight both of them.
James, you're familiar with the Bomani Jones show, right?
Yeah.
Hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are still listening to One Nation Radio. If you're hearing this message, it means that shit has gotten too real or some grown folks' business has been brought up that you are unfortunately not privy to. It be like that sometimes. The show will continue on as normal in a few seconds. Thanks for your patience. Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad, but yeah, man.
Yeah. It's real.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously that's all a part of it. That's more than I would have imagined. But yeah, you have that. And like, apparently the story is that NXT, they were trying to pitch ideas to the Raw writing team, and as far as trying to make this thing work or whatever else, and it never worked out. And then, Charlotte, was made to look strong in like every encounter they ever had, including winning at WrestleMania. And then, Charlotte leaves without ever putting anyone over. And, I don't think we've seen Charlotte since.
Yeah.
Was that Charlotte's last match?
It was. And
yeah,
she didn't put anybody over.
Right.
She didn't move any numbers. She didn't do nothing. Just took up space.
And keep in mind, like, all these decisions, for the most part, for the most part, we always, the good things and the bad things that happen are all Vince, because Vince approves all this stuff because he micromanages. So it's like, most of this stuff is all Vince's fault for whatever happened. But you have that, so like, there is frustration between the two, the writing teams. It's like, one's supposed to be a service to the other, but like, because the main roster / Vince teams have screwed up Charlotte so much where it's like, Charlotte is the star to the level that they believe that needs to have a match at WrestleMania. There was nothing left for them because they're bad at booking and building people. So they said, let's go into NXT and beat the person that like was hot as fish grease back in like, was it December 18th? So, and there you go.
She goes into NXT with a directive that she can't lose, and then it's like, she's like radioactive. Everything that gets around her gets burnt,
right.
or infected.
That just continues on what happened with, the backlash, the Becky getting over thing in like WrestleMania 35. Like, that's another part, that's just another chapter of all of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I can see why she didn't want to come, why she didn't rush back after, getting, her surgery. Like, she did it last time, and it's been nothing but hell for her, online from fans or whatever else, and most of the stuff's not her fault. And so she's like, I'll come back when I'm getting well ready. But I will say this. If she comes back and wins back-to-back Rumbles, that is not gonna help. I can tell you that right fucking now.
Yeah, they better not.
That would not be wise. So we'll see what they
better do with it. Like, she's got to be away from the belt. Like, the thing is, I don't know.
They've never done anything. She has no identity away from the WWE, any of the women's title in WWE on the main roster.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's ever had a pay-per-view match that didn't involve a title match.
She wrestled Trish, but that's like a Legends match.
That's right.
That's like a Legends match. So, like,
I think that's the only one, though. I think we've been over
that. Might be it.
One. Like, yeah. Keep in mind, like, she's been on the main roster since the summer 2015. So it's like,
incredible when you think about it.
You mean to tell me you've had like 30 something pay-per-view matches and only one or two of them work for the title or for a title? That's, especially when we know what that means for the women's divisions on the main roster. It's like, there is basically like one match on pay-per-view. One. Per brand, obviously. Now that, there's only one pay-per-view instead of branded pay-per-views. So it's like, that's a chokehold. Like, she's a great wrestler, but like, the way they book, like, that leads to a lot of resentment and backlash, especially when you screw these people up. And they've definitely screwed her up at times. But anyway.
Especially when you're juxtapositioning her against Sasha Banks, against Becky Lynch, against now, like, the NXT people, like,
yeah,
it's like, no one's ever cheering for Charlotte in these situations.
Yeah, like, think about it. WrestleMania 34, she breaks Asuka's undefeated streak just so she can get cashed in on after the fucking Iconics beat her up so Carmella can cash in. It's like, so then she could leave so that Asuka can chase after Carmella. That's stupid.
And not win.
That's stupid. Whatever. Yeah, so, I guess we can move on. I guess it's time to get to the Wednesday wrestling. So, Rich, do you have Dynamite notes up to talk about Dynamite?
Yeah. So I guess we're going to do Triplemania later. So, AEW Dynamite. So, this was a good show. I think. It wasn't
a great show. It wasn't a very good show.
I'm trying to remember. It was like,
I think the opener. Okay, so the wrestling on this show for standard AEW Dynamite was below par. It had one kick-ass match, and the rest of it was kind of just there. But there was so much new and interesting direction points and promos that it was still a good show. Maybe even I would say it's still definitely a good show. So, like, you know, if you're just a person that's there for the in-ring action, I can see being disappointed in this thing, but, like, it led to the Kenny stuff. It led to, we have to go through the show. We'll talk about it. I'm blanking on something. Because there was so much of the Shaq stuff where Shaq gets wet up. So,
brand new meme.
Yeah. There was plenty of stuff. Sting, Big Time and Cody, which I loved. Like, it was,
yep.
It was good.
But of course, we opened the show with a hot Young Bucks opener. So, like, just Young Bucks hybrid to a good old traditional spot fest, and that's just what it is. I hope Jim Ross, you know, he was in the news for making dumb comments again, burying the wrestlers about doing dives and all this dumb shit.
What did he say? I didn't hear it. Elaborate if you can.
Shit. Like, it was basically like y'all stand outside the ring, you know, doing these dives onto like piles of people, and basically just more old man yelling at the crowd shit. And I'm like, you're in the wrong company. Apparently he did this on the podcast, and then there were like AEW wrestlers sniping back at him on Twitter saying this is exactly what we're going to do in this match or whatever. And then FTR was licking boots, of course, as FTR does. So in this match, we've got the Bucks against Angelico and Evans, and it was a non-title match. If Angelico and Evans got the win, they would then get a title shot. Instead of like the champions losing the non-title match, the champions win, throw you off, and continue like this hot streak the Bucks have been on. And this was awesome. This was just like, there was a part where I thought the Yave was going to make Matt Jackson submit, but it did not. There was tons of dives, tons of moves, just more than you can keep up with. The highlight being the Indie Taker to the outside of the ring, which I lost my mind when Nick jumped off that bitch, and then they gave them the BTE trigger for the win. I love this.
Yeah, Jack Evans did something crazy that I can't remember because I've watched so much wrestling and it was the opener on Wednesday. But yeah, great or not, kick-ass match. I'm not even gonna go to great or whatever else. I saw you gave it 4.5 and I was like, yikes, but I'm not going there with you, but it was a fun-ass match. It's a match I definitely recommend anyone to watch. But they did a lot of shit, and I don't know if, and I can't remember almost any of it. Not to necessarily say that's a bad thing, but like, they had a lot of shit, and like, it felt like a sugar rush. It was a fun match. It was a fun match.
Just amazing. Just mind-blowing effort here. Like, in their sleep. They didn't even seem like Bucks, like, they're doing that thing where it's like, all right, they made this shit look easy, but it ain't. Like, so, after that, Basically, the Acclaim tried to jump in because they got shoved during this match. They tried to attack the Bucks after, but SCU ran out to break it up. After that, we got MJF cutting a promo on Orange Cassidy, calling him an embarrassment, so he's going to bash his brains in. After that, we got a Darby Allin video. I really like this video. Some of the videos hadn't been landing with me of late, but this one got me hyped up. He basically was taking a Rorschach test. I believe that's what it's called.
Rorschach, yeah.
Yeah, and then there were all the ink blots. Basically, he was like, yeah, I see Ricky Starks, I see Cage, and that's a puppet or whatever, yes. But this man has beat me or whatever, and they showed all the, the times he lost to him, and basically it was like, I want him. And then he showed another ink blot, and it was Sting, and then Darby started laughing.
I was thinking like if there was someone do a parody version of this particular vignette, then like, given how cold and calm and low tone like Darby talks when he almost sounds like a damn vigilante superhero. Not to say vigilante like Sting in WWE, but like he sounds like he's out for justice. But anyway, the way he sounds so cold, like I was thinking like if there was gonna do a comedy version of it, like there'd be one version of somebody, let's say, I don't know, cause it's Angelico. Let's say it's Angelico ink blotting him, he'd be like, it asks like, what do you see here? I see a douche.
Wow. Or Yahweh. Like
Yahweh, oh my god. But yeah, like it was I think except for like one or two of these things, I've liked all the Darby vignettes. It's just something different to the table, and like it shows a lot of creativity. Like I tell you, for one, it beats the shit out of himself. So. Right, it beats the shit out of whatever they have Bray Wyatt do. And people talking about the artistic genius that is Bray Wyatt is like, compare that to Darby, who's a mid-carder. Nah.
Yeah,
sorry.
So Cody then came out, hit all of his pyro and his big entrance, and waving his meat around essentially,
what?
In figurative form. He got Arn Anderson out there with him, and
I say I do not recall seeing that. I would have turned the channel off.
So
definitely not PG.
Tony Schiavone asked Cody like what was going on, and then the lights went out. Take a shot, and Sting came out, and then Sting came in, had the snow, and Arn left right away, and Schiavone tried to leave, but Sting was like, "Where are you going, Tony?" Essentially, flashed that big smile, the Stinger charisma, and he talked about Schiavone calling his matches, and he wanted Schiavone to do a It Sting, and Schiavone did one, and I loved it. And Cody said that he was been waiting to share the ring with him for a long time. Sting then looks at Cody and was like, "I'm not here for you. Like, what are you thinking, guy?" And he said, something about this place felt familiar, and he's talking about being on TNT. He said, "I'm looking up there," and then Darby Allin, they hand the camera, Darby sitting there, and he said, "Things have come full circle, and I'm here once again." He said, the one thing about Sting, I'm going to be here for a long time, and I'll see you around, but the one thing about Sting is for sure is nothing's for sure, like normal. And he came off like a total superstar here. And Cody just got left holding the bag. Yeah.
Did he even shake his hand? I think he
gave him a hug.
Okay. Yeah. So, he said that he always wanted a match, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not here for you, or at least not yet." And then he walked away from him, and like Cody was like, we're getting closer and closer to the heel turn.
Yep. Can you feel it?
It's like, your heel turn is going to be because your hero slighted you, like your childhood hero slighted you. It's like, oh god, more daddy issues for Cody to work through.
So we don't know what Sting's going to be doing, but maybe he's affiliated with Darby somehow. So chances are he's probably going to be watching Darby's back as he goes into his war with Team Taz, if I had to guess.
Yeah. When the snow fell when Sting came out. Like, at first I thought, like, oh yeah, that's cool because Sting, that was his entrance last week. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, nah, that's like the ice that is following, like, Cody's career in the last year since he lost that fucking match for the Stip. That boy's ice, that boy's getting colder and colder as it goes. Alright, we can move on.
So after that, we had Team Taz backstage. Taz was back there with the whole Team Taz. All those guys were standing at the camera looking tough, including Hook. You know, Taz's son, probably appropriately named from Red Hook, New York. And he basically left Cody's tutelage and he joined Team Taz. And, you know, Ricky Starks got to do a little talking, and, you know, Taz mocks Sting. Just more Team Taz, you know, douchery. So Hook looks like, you know, he's just like a little badass. Like he's gonna come out there and hopefully he's good. So
we'll see. They mentioned now Hook is now actually no longer being trained at the dojo for Codyism, and now he's being trained at the Team Taz dojo. It's like,
wherever that is.
Yeah, wherever that is. Like, if Brian Cage and oh my god, I'm blanking his name. Not Powerhouse Hobbs, but
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, if Starks and Cage were actually like doing a wrestling school, like I'm sure they would get lots of clients. But yeah.
So after that, we got FTR against the Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. I like this match. This is FTR's first match since Full Gear. They were beating the shit out of Brian Pillman in this. Griff Garrison had some good fire in this match. I thought FTR was sharp, unlike some other times they've been around. But this was like reminded me of what you would probably see like in a classic tag team match with like the Brainbusters fighting a young tag team, and they got them the fuck out of here eventually.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the match didn't get me away from my phone. I was going to go back and watch it, but I didn't get the time to. But it looked okay. Like, technically, just nothing necessarily intrigued me. I think mostly that's probably because I don't like Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. Like, I don't really care. Like, last time I saw Griff Garrison, like, he got his ass whooped by MJF.
Indeed. After that, FTR exchanged some words with Jurassic Express. They caught Hangman Page hanging out by the bar, and Alex Marvez rolled up on him and said, "You're scheduled for a 6-man match next week against Matt Hardy and Private Party, but you don't have any tag partners listed because, you know, the Hangman doesn't have any friends because he fucked them all." So,
top babyface shit.
Then, you know, John Silver and Alex Reynolds pop up wearing the cowboy hats out of nowhere behind the bar. Said they've been hanging out there for a week waiting for the right moment. And then Page said, "You guys aren't my partners." But then Reynolds asked, if not us, then who? And that was enough for Hangman, apparently. You know, so these guys convincing, doing their jobs. So we got John Silver and Reynolds teaming up with Hangman next week. I think this is going to be fun.
I do too. Hopefully they don't get too goofy with the comedy, but it should be a fun match.
So we got Dustin Rhodes against 10. This is a short match, not really much to it. 10 started getting into it with Aaron Solo for whatever reason on the outside. But yeah. It was a real quick match for Dustin to get a win because it seems like there's some Dustin Dark Order play. They took the gas off of Dustin, I think, like earlier in the year. I think they were doing too much with Dustin, and now I think they've arrived back at a place where they may be doing too little with Dustin. So it's good to see him get something because, like, I find myself at times, like, cause I came on here on this show earlier this year and buried him where I thought he was doing too much when they had him bleeding all over the place with Lance Archer and everything else. But then I'm like, well, I don't want to see him completely like off TV. So I think this is okay. Dark Order came out and Evil Uno said, you know, we didn't come to fight. And he talked about Dustin's legacy. But he said, you're the third most important Rhodes in this company. I was like, how fucking dare you, Evil Uno? Then he offered Dustin his place as 7. For those of you that know, that immediately popped me. I was dying laughing.
I howled. I was like, what? you want to give him 7 so you be the child diddler again? Wow.
Yeah. So 7 was his, I think he only appeared like twice in WCW under that name.
Gotta remember, he had the vignette where he's basically outside some kid's window and he's talking about, like, alluding to it. It's supposed to be one thing, but you can easily take it to mean like he's a pedophile, and then like they pulled the, I guess Sanderson Practices or Turner itself like pulled the plug on it, so they retconned it by having him come out with the entrance, and then he showed up and they Russo'd it to where it's like, I was given this gimmick to be something stupid, but I'm not going to do it. I'm shooting on what I was told to do, blah, 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 and Russoism and all that. And they killed it from there immediately. I
think it was for the best.
Yeah. But I forgot how did this segment end?
So the funniest shit, Dustin acted like he was going to do the Dark Order pose, but he lifted the hand and then just slapped Evil Uno across the face. That shit was hilarious. I need a gif of that, by the way. And the rest of the Dark Order wanted to fight, but Uno was like, go ahead, chill. Eventually, Dustin's going to come to us begging. So for him to say that, maybe something's in play. So after that...
Well, one quick thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of with you on Dustin. I think Dustin's best role is when they let him cut a promo like the week before his whatever match he's going to do. That's on like a short build where he like spurred a moment. He cuts his fiery promo backstage for just like 2 minutes long or 90 seconds long or 60 seconds long and gets you ready for whatever match. And then he has a match and it's fun. And he goes away. Like if that's his role, like that could be his role where he does it like 2 times, or 2 times every like 7-8 weeks. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing. And I think he'd be best suited right now at this point in his career to just be like, he only works on these quickie little things like on TV and not even be concerned for trying to get on pay-per-view. Because he's a player coach at this point. Yeah.
And you can clearly see putting him in there with 10, like what that is designed to do. So,
right.
After that, we got the Shaq interview. So Shaq and Brandy Rhodes sat down with Shivani. Brandy had the arm in the sling. Shaq said he respected Jade Cargill, but he didn't appreciate what she did to Brandy's arm. He said he's known Jade for years. And I'm like, what you mean you've known Jade for years? Mr. 48-year-old.
She has a background in basketball. Maybe went to a Shaq camp. I don't know. I know there has been a Shaq camp in years. Yeah. I understand that. I'm talking about the wrestling storyline of what you're supposed to allude to it. I don't think that he was alluding to he was messing with her. I don't think that was the plan.
Yeah. So she said she was excited to see them get into it though. He said he was just joking with Cody on Twitter, how I do, haha, I'm Shaq, essentially. But Shaq said that Brandy should watch Jade while she's injured and learn a few things. Brandy did not like this, grabbed half a glass of water and gave us a gift for all time as she just threw the water all over Shaq. Shaq was just shocked by this, and that man got wet on national television. Who knew?
It was funny. It was very funny to me.
Yeah. So after that, we got the Inner Circle Ultimatum.
Real quick. So Brandy announced that Jade actually did break her arm with the pilmanization. And that's been about 3 weeks ago or something like that. Cody has had no concern about it. Dustin has had no concern about it. Arn has had no concern about it. Everybody else in the Nightmare family has had no concern about it. It's like, well, damn, like, what the fuck? Cody didn't give us no updates on nothing. She was off TV, whatever. It's like, this is now becoming
Sting is here now. So Cody has shifted his focus
I guess so.
So after that, we had the Inner Circle Ultimatum. This was awesome. Everybody minus Santana. Santana's stepfather passed away. He was not there. He said this could be the last. Jericho said this could be the last time the Inner Circle was all together. He's tired of everyone acting like petulant punks. He's talked about how Jake Hager didn't like Wardlow. Sammy didn't like MJF, and said Santana, was so upset he didn't come to work. MJF said, he thinks he might be the issue because, people think that MJF either wants to break up or take over the Inner Circle. Full gaslighting here. He said and after that, he started to patronize Sammy Guevara, but Sammy Guevara was like, nah, man, I ain't having this shit. This is bullshit. This man's talking. And Jericho astutely pointed out, like, hey, man, we've already established that we watched this fucking show. Like, you would never hear this anywhere else. He said, we saw what happened. You was out here with a towel trying to fuck me, and I know exactly what you were doing, guy. I got really interested at this point. Then Ortiz spoke, and he did a great job. He called MJF and Wardlow assets as talents, but not as human beings. He said MJF is growing on him, and he asked Sammy Guevara to shake MJF's hands because together they're better. And he said, Wardlow, I love you, never change. And he said, shake his hand because you're the better man, Sammy, and you know it. And MJF did not like that shit at all. Sammy then basically told Jericho that he trusts him with everything, so he's going to shake MJF's hand, but if one more thing happens, he will quit the Inner Circle, and they shook on it. I don't know, man. I don't feel like the Inner Circle is some group you could just quit without them, like, fighting you. So after that, everything seemed all good.
Hey,
then
don't do this with these groups about like these factions you can't leave. Like we've seen Cody. Don't do that. We just did this where like we have Caleb trying to tell us that Hangman had no choice but to sabotage the Elite so he can get out, even though like he said he's been out the Elite for like months before then. It kept coming back without anyone ever asking him to come back. Man
had lemon booty. He knew he had to fight the Bucks again.
Right.
So after that, we thought
until that man does. Remember the Dan Gilbert letter to LeBron when LeBron left Cleveland?
Yes.
Look, until this man does right by the Young Bucks, they'll curse upon the House of Hangman Page. I don't give a damn what he does. Until he makes right with them, the fucking them, I don't give a damn what he does. He can be a babyface all he wants to. I'm never gonna cheer for him. I like his matches and all that. Nah, man. This is a flawed ass superhero character, whatever you want to call him. Nah, man. He's an asshole.
Heroes ain't supposed to be perfect, though.
You're right. But they're not supposed to be assholes either.
Yeah. So we thought it was all finished, but then Jake Hager grabbed the mic and was like, hold on, bro. Why does he keep staring at me? And bro, I fucking howled. What? And then Wardlow grabbed the mic and was like, hold on. Why the fuck does he keep staring at me? Right. He's been staring at me since I showed up in this motherfucker. Like,
right.
And they both, got charged up, and Jericho was like, hey man, no more staring. But these two like kind of take their eyes off each other, but they're still clearly looking at each other. So I think people gonna want to see it. Well, they gonna want to see the big bulls fight
eventually. Until I
remember, Wardlow was not in WWE.
I still have my reservations. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Do whenever it comes.
Jericho's about to close it out, but MJF interrupted him to try to like put himself over again. Was like, Jericho's like, hey man, kill that shit. Don't do that. Like, and then, they all pose with their middle fingers. So, the Inner Circle story continues. Lots of face turns could be coming out of this. Wherever they go with it, take us on a ride. So, after that, we got the next match, we got an FTR interview with Marvez. I have nothing on this. Like, they just started talking a bunch of like stuff about NASCAR drivers, and making a metaphor and whatever, but fear to revelation. After that, we got Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade against Lance Archer, Pentagon, and Rey Fenix. So, Pentagon's injured, like has a shoot injury, and this kind of came into play at Triplemania, upon reflection. They basically took him out of the match, threw him through the table lightly. He got to land and then walked him to the back, and it was 2-on-3. Phoenix and Archer. So Archer back in the tag team role against the Butcher and the Blade and Eddie Kingston. This was pretty good too. Eddie Kingston, I think they did like the Butcher and the Blade did a tag team move on Phoenix and got the win here. Jake Roberts was cheering for Rey Fenix openly in this match, and I was like, this is why I love this company, because I'm like, where else are we gonna see some shit like that? Like, what is Jake the Snake Roberts doing? Like, kind of like seconding Rey Fenix. That's just like hilarious to me. Like,
okay, so for me, basically the whole setup is all three of them hate Eddie Kingston, so they're just teaming up. That's the logic behind it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember when you sent me that, and I was like, wait, what? And I was like, that it's got to be that, like, they teamed up. Because obviously he made the save last week on the show when he came out, or 2 weeks ago when he came out. But, yeah. Is there a situation where Pac, is there a reason why Pac wasn't there?
I think Pac just went home.
Again?
Like, for the holidays or whatever.
Alright.
So, like, he came, I think he did, like, what did he do? 2 shows? 3 shows?
2 shows.
He did 3 shows, I think.
3?
Okay.
He showed up and then wrestled next week.
Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah, he probably, like, went back. So, yeah, but just, they ended up hitting the, the powerbomb neckbreaker combo on Phoenix and pinning him. And Eddie Kingston, Butcher and the Blade get the dub. You know, shout out to Big Butch. It was his birthday yesterday. And Eddie Kingston, same day. So from there, Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill were backstage, and they were beating down Nyla. Excuse me, Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill were beating down Big Swole, I believe. No, they were beating up Red Velvet, and to send a message to Brandy.
You didn't just do what I think you just did.
No, because Big Swole broke up the fight.
No. You didn't just do. You didn't. There wasn't a case of mistaken identity just now.
No, because like the notes are like.
Because I remember it being Red Velvet, and then like Serena Deeb came out, Swole came out. There may have been another babyface if I may be mistaken, but I remember Serena Deeb was like that looks like a jacket that Serena Deeb would not actually really wear. But okay.
So, like, it was Big Swole and Serena broke it up, and then Ivelisse and Diamante got involved.
Right.
And that's how we got the tag match.
Yeah.
Lots of names for me to remember.
That is true.
So, after that, and that is going to lead to a tag match next week, we got Abaddon against Tesha Price. It was short. It was
not sweet. It was
not
short,
sweet.
But sweet.
It was less than a minute. Thank you. The shorter, the better. My only wish is that it could have been shorter. So
it wasn't awful, but it was never good at any point.
Did you see those Abaddon punches?
I saw
to the gut.
I remember a slam at one point, but that's about all I remember.
So she did the gory special net breaker for the win. After that, Abaddon continued the assault until Karoshita came out with a kendo stick. Karoshita smacked Abaddon over the head, and she fell. Immediately, everybody knew she was going to sit up like the Undertaker, and she did. Mm-hmm. And then Sheeta and Tesha Price bounced after that. After that, Dasha interviewed the Inner Circle. Jericho said everybody's on the same page and announced that the group's going to join MJF and Wardlow ringside during the main event, and he guaranteed that MJF will win. So, of course, Inner Circle rolling in Wu-Tang-like numbers to the main event. After that, it then was money time as Kenny Omega and Don Callis arrived via the chopper on you boys. So I guess this is a good point to talk about the Impact interview. So the day before this, the main event of Impact, Kenny Omega and Don Callis are in the bus getting interviewed by Josh Matthews. This is like one of the best interview segments I've ever seen. Don Callis, God tier. Kenny was great. They basically just like run down this long-term plan that they've been cooking up. And then they talked about, the nepotism and how everybody else sucked at it. They just did this shit better. And he waited and, he basically said, I got a Hall of Famer in his prime. That's the champion. Yeah. And then Kenny talked about, y'all wanted this. Y'all wanted me to be the champion. And it was amazing. Callis was like going like 100 miles a minute, no pauses, just flawless execution. Go out of your way to see this. What do you think about the Impact segment?
I thought it was great. I don't think it was all-time television or whatever, but it was great. Once you get to the Dynamite part, like it's almost like or 90% of what Callis said was the Impact interview on AEW. It was like 90% of it, 80% of it, something like that. So it's like, that kind of stunk. I thought the thing that was interesting to me was when watching the Impact thing was I thought that Callis was so much better than Kenny, and then on Dynamite, I thought Kenny was so much better than Callis.
I felt like Don Callis was the better one on both nights. I thought it was like,
I think it's because I felt that way because like Callis basically repeated all the shit he said on the Tuesday show, where like Kenny,
which is smart because if they didn't, because there's going to be plenty of people that for whatever reason they're just not going to watch.
Don't say it for whatever reason. Look, don't say it for whatever reason as if like you're only a fool if you don't watch Impact Wrestling. No, I'm good. but Kenny had enough. Kenny's two promos were different. So it was like, to me, it's like, all right, like I thought Kenny was better the second time around, than the first time. But yeah, but both nights of promo wise were both great.
Like rave reviews. Like I said, if you hadn't seen that one, like the one on Impact's like a longer form version of what they did here.
It's funnier too.
Yeah, it just knee slapping laughter. Like the best matches in Mexico, in America, in Japan, in Zimbabwe.
I thought the funniest line for me was when he talked about Josh Matthews. You're a WWE crony. Yeah, I know you're an Ambrose. I know you're a Moxie guy. I know you season 1 or 2 of Tough Enough or whatever the fuck or NXT or whatever else and called that man Ambrose. I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. Josh Matthews. Yeah. Like, Matthews. When's the last time you think Josh Matthews talked to Moxley? How many years do you think it's been?
Years and years. If I had to guess. But yeah, it was like the debut of this establishing this act. This was like the call to arms, I'd say, in the bus, letting everybody know what it was going to be. Kenny was going to go ahead and collect these belts around the world. He's already got the most important one in the AEW title, and then he's about to just rack them up, it seems like. And they seem like they tease like a Rich Swann match, possibly, so he can go ahead and pick up that Impact belt, take it with him. And this man really about to act like Ric Flair. I love it. So
I didn't pick up any Ric Flair vibes. I mean, do you mean like Flair and Heenan?
You could say that, or like, okay. A lot of people are saying like Nick Bockwinkel and Heenan also. It makes all the sense in the world.
I could see that, but Kenny got to start dressing more consistently if he gonna do that. Like he got to go back to that suit he wore when Moxley whooped his ass a couple weeks ago. If he's gonna be out here being Botwinkle, like, Jericho did this did a Botwinkle thing back at about 12 years ago. But it's a very good thing. I am concerned about have you gotten to the AEW promo, or you want to get to the AEW promo, the meat of that?
I'll get to that
meat of that possum.
So Kenny came out, and they added even more broom girls. I don't know if you saw my message earlier, but I've discovered women on Twitter have started giving themselves this Twitter name, Omega Broom Girl, and then putting numbers like which number they are or whatever, which is fucking hilarious. Shivani was in the ring. He said he's never been more disgusted than what he saw on last week's Dynamite, which is fucking cap. Hulk Hogan spitting in the camera, spray painting the belt.
I have a video right now on my phone of Scott Steiner with a lead pipe backstage beating the shit out of a toy duck while Tony Schiavone is yelling, "Yeah!" So I don't want so you can stop the bullshit right now, Tony Schiavone. You stop this bullshit right now. Goddamn lies.
So Callis said everyone seems to be upset, including Tony Khan. As he told Tony Khan, "Welcome to the wrestling business." Like, this man Callis is vaulting himself in the finesser of the year category, just like off of two moves. It seems like. Callis said this scheme took years of planning, and he basically cut the same promo he did on Impact, talking about Omega in the Tokyo Dome with Jericho, that being the catalyst for AEW. They said they essentially created this shit, and this belt is ours, and he threw it to Kenny. Kenny said he didn't beg Tony Khan to hire his friends and family, unlike some of the other EVPs, but the plan was still a success. He then called his match with Moxley a 7-star classic. He called it fine art and said that everyone watching fell for it. Said that John Moxley's the real deal, but, you know, he doesn't have, like, my cunning. He said, I might have hit you with the mic, but I didn't beat you with that. I beat you with the one-wing angel. The one-wing angel, like, no one kicks out of that shit. And you didn't either. I won the match, not the mic. So he was going to make the big announcement, and then Callis took the mic and was like, "Nah, man, people ain't ready for this shit." And Kenny was like, "Nah, man, he said, him and Kenny just don't make money. They make history. They talk about making history twice or changing history twice." And then Kenny brought it back. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Yeah, he made some big deal about him saying his sign off. It was like, is there something I'm missing here? What am I missing?
He hadn't done it essentially like for a very long time.
Okay. I think that mostly is a product of him being, you know, having to handhold Paige for a year, but okay. Yeah, so I like Kenny's second promo from AEW compared to the Impact one, because on the Impact one, he's trying to give me this bullshit ass thing about a gentleman's code for a wrestling match, and he crossed it once he touched his family, and I'm like, hey. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. And then, like, the very next day, or not the very next day, because obviously we paid nowhere, it was taped.
Gotta protect your family. You know?
He shows up on the AEW one, and he's just like, "Yeah, I cheated." And I'm like, thank you. I don't want to hear this bullshit. Just admit that you fucking cheated. We can move on. Like, what is this lame ass excuse you're giving? He's like, "Yeah, I cheated. I don't care." And I'm like, thank you. That's what you want. Like, I don't want this, like, oh, well,
bro,
you know, he kind of does have a bad point.
I forgot to say, this nigga was utterly detestable in the AEW promo. I could just feel the people that he makes upset getting upset. Yeah. I could feel on my skin just tingling. I can absorb their energy. Like,
so when he said the line about, like, I gave you a 7-star classic, I was like, okay, this could go one of two ways. Either he's just talking shit and he's going to continue to have his matches, or, like, the heat for the future will be he has these matches that leave you underwhelmed, and then he'll come, as he comes out victorious, he'll come back and say 8-star match, 9-star match, 10-star match for heat. And I'm just like, please, dude, can I see the best bout machine be the best bout machine without, like...
Do you think that would be more effective, or do you think it would be effective as it's always been, how it's always been a shoot? Like, like, do you think people would be more upset if it would happen the way you said it, or do you think they would be more upset than they already are? Like, it being a shoot and they already don't know how to act, James.
Well, I think it has a shelf life. like, I don't necessarily think Kenny Omega should be like a 3-month champion or whatever. Like, so if he goes about that route, I think people will get tired after like the second pay-per-view match. So that's why I don't necessarily want that to happen. And also,
I think it's more effective as a shoot the way it is.
I'm misunderstanding what you mean by saying it's a shoot.
Okay, because like he already is critically acclaimed and all that, and you know he basically flexes these accomplishments already, right?
Yeah,
I mean it's a shoot or whatever. Like the acclaim, like you can pull up the cage match ratings year after year after year, and it's high, and people already don't know how to act. So like, will it even be more effective if he caps about it? I don't think it will.
I don't think it'd be more effective. I just think people, like, now that he has all these people here, like, he's, you know, they built all this, they shot this angle, this is week 1 after it, like, I don't think you grow the company by having a heel, like, by having this work rate storytelling show devolve into, fuck finishes and your main event. Like, I don't think that's going to grow the company. So I'd really, for the sake of the company and for the sake of like my enjoyment of Kenny Omega, I would not like that to happen. Like, Kenny Omega is, in AEW, like one of the bright spots where like you put him anywhere in pretty much any position and like he's going to have about as good as match as you can given the circumstance. And like once that stops happening, like for me, it's going to become less enjoyable. Because he's one of the most enjoyable things on the promotion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's enough that I have to suffer through some of the Cody stuff from week to week. Like, now it's like, you're going to do this. Now, like, we don't know when we're getting Mossy back. Pac is about to take MLK week off. He's taking every holiday he can fucking get. You know, Pentagon and Fizz get hurt every other match they're in. It's like, damn, man, like, I just want to watch people kick each other's ass. That's all I really want to see. I want to see people talk shit and kick each other's ass. Like, Kenny's going to do all the talking shit apparently now that he wasn't doing before, but like, I just want, once we get to the moment where it's time to have the match, can I get the match, please? That's all I'm asking. Like, can I get some Peligroso and some Brutal Peligro? That's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit of danger.
So,
that's it. Just a little bit.
I'm very encouraged from like everything I've seen since he won the belt, because it feels like these are ideas that have been cooking. Like, as I mentioned before, he's so fresh right now, in a way that not too many other people on the show are right now. So like as you mentioned, Cody, like, bro, the man blew through a lot that first, like, what would we say, like 18 months to other promotion. Like, he blew through a lot of angles, a lot of bleeding, a lot of like these struggle ace matches, as I called them. Like, it's just like, no, man, like,
guys. Like, the only, like, he's in a weird slot. Like, he's in a utility slot now already. And that's to say it's the worst thing in the world, because Kenny just got done doing it, and like Jericho is kind of doing it right now. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's like they blew through all of that stuff. They blew through it so fast that like you couldn't get an ace run or top babyface run out of Cody. You basically got like the hottest babyface or the best television babyface work we had seen in a while. And like, it went from pretty much not, and now he's like, he can't win the title. It seems like we're just marking the days down until he eventually turns heel, and it's like, okay, like alright, I mean, he's good at it, and he's probably better situated to be a heel, in most matches I like, or him as a heel, but it's like, he was so, like, you think of what he was at the end of 2019 to where he is now, and it's like, but yeah, as far as Kenny, yeah, he's fresh. I just hope he doesn't do anything to wear out the welcome on top, because like, you know how it is like, it's easy to, if you get too good at being a heel,
that's what's going to happen. He's going to turn back face again.
No, not that. I'm not saying that.
Oh.
If you get too good at being a heel, and and then you start doing some of that stuff where you're not giving us the match that we want or that people come to expect out of Kenny Omega, then it might turn into resentment. At the top of the card. And if you could do, and for me, it's like simple, easy way to avoid that. Do everything you're doing, just have the match. Or the matches when they come. Like, you have the kick-ass matches still, it can go for a long time, but I can see people being like, oh, wow, they, it was some lesser damn thing or whatever else, even though, like, the TV work, given what they've done so far, has, like, been great. It's like, for me, it's a weird thing. They have to have some care with this, and I trust them to have care with it. But like, they laid it on thick with that 7-star thing, and it had my antenna raised up because, like, I've been abused by previous promotions I've watched. So my antennas, like, no matter how good AEW ever treats me, I'm always gonna have my antennas up for when I be like, oh no, like this could be some bullshit on deck. I'm always braced. I'm always braced for it.
I'm enjoying Don Callis. Everything Don Callis usually is involved in is lit. So, like, I feel like there's a lot of brains in the room between Callis and Kenny and Tony Khan and anybody else with an idea, like, behind this. So, I'm very excited. So next week we got Cody Rhodes and Angelico. They're probably going to do some grappling.
So what's Cody's thing going to be? Is it going to be like, I want to get him to lock up? It's like, but the Yave don't teach you how to lock up?
Yeah, apparently, he wants him to try the Yave, and he's going to show him the amateur wrestling, so that he always talks about.
Be like, no Yave, this is America, damn it.
Right, this is a jingoism match. Like, so we got Paige, Silver, and Reynolds against Matt Hardy and Private Party. Got SCU versus the Acclaimed, Serena Deeb and Big Swole against Ivelisse and Diamante. And just announced, I don't know if you know about it, they caught Kenny Omega at the airport as he was headed to Mexico. He cut a 3-minute promo. It was phenomenal. And he basically said, there's like, there's a glitch on basically, like, there's a hang up on my record, I'm the champion, I didn't get to face Joey Janela. Because Janela was supposed to face me, and I really want to solve this as a champion. So I'm going to let him run it, and, however he wants to. If he wants to bring Sonny Kiss or whatever, do whatever you want. Use whatever weapon you want. And it's going to be Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. If Joey wins, he gets a title shot, I believe. So no DQ. So this is going to be a hell of a way to kick it off on Dynamite. So they've always had awesome matches together. So.
Since that's the case and he's opening this up for Janela, does that mean, like, in, I don't know, New Year's, we're probably going to get him in Phoenix?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think he like, that's like, when they put this into play, that's immediately where my mind went, because I'm like, this company does things that make sense. So if they did this one, how about they do that one too? Right. So
the one that more people want to see than fucking Janela. Not to say that like Janela and Kenny don't have, like, they had a banger last year on Dark, but I just hope Kenny doesn't fucking kill himself like he did like he did in that Janela match last year, because he almost fucking impaled himself on the business end of the table. It's like, dude, you're doing this on TV. You're crazy. Like, Kenny got me worried about it. Like, bro, you gonna kill yourself doing all the shit you do, bro.
Bro, I feel like he's trying to send this message, and like, I don't know. To me, he doesn't have to send a message, but them niggas is wired different. Look, them niggas is wired different. Like,
I thought about the Janela thing. When I heard about it, and then because I heard about it like earlier in the week, and then like I watched the Triplemania match, and like, he just lands on concrete because Nakazawa just refused to catch him. And I was like, dude, this dude gonna wake up out of bed, walking around like T-Mac or Steve Nash or some shit, gonna have the Larry Bird back brace, like that. He's working this crazy schedule. Like, just take it down like 2 notches, bro. You still gonna have great matches, but taking it down 2 notches. And
he's gonna start headlining Impact pay-per-views, they're saying. He's gonna be on Impact next week also. So,
is his shoulder still messed up, or is it fine now?
I believe he's avoiding surgery right now. Like, he's doing a bunch of physical therapy, cupping treatments, just all the shit you got to do to, like, that you hear about athletes going through to get themselves ready to perform. He's doing. That's like asking if Allen Iverson is hurt. Of course he's hurt. Like,
another person that I've seen, like, bruise his tailbone landing on the fucking floor. Like, just like, relax, bro. We'll talk about Nakazawa in a second, I guess, or later on in the show.
So they say now it's the AEW Holiday Dynamite match after the Bucks Celtics game on December 23rd, and then their 2-part event, New Year's Smash. Chris Jericho is going to be on commentary on December 30th, and then January 6th, night 2, Snoop Dogg will be on commentary somewhere. So Tony Khan immediately noticing what the people want. When Snoop was on commentary for Mike Tyson and Roy Jones and getting them booked.
Right. Did you hear Meltzer review the Wednesday shows?
I don't remember.
He was like, we'll see if Snoop Dogg's any good at this. I was like, I'm sorry, did you not see this? Did you not? I'm sorry, like, maybe, boxing commentary is different than the wrestling commentary.
Bro, if I was Tony Khan, I would say do exactly what you did, like, on Mike Tyson. We'll give you some type of hardcore match to call, so we ain't got to worry about you calling holds or nothing. Just like, let that man call a bunkhouse match.
Look, if I am Tony Khan, or if I am in charge of the commentary, I just say, Tony, Jim, Excalibur, get the fuck out the way. Lay out. He'll handle the rest. Don't try to direct him on nothing. Just let him watch it. Only thing you should say is, don't cuss. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Get out the way. Like,
that shit was great with that man on commentary.
We have seen Snoop Dogg talk and be charismatic and charming and hilarious for the past 30 years. He don't need no help. Just get out the way.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, yeah.
And quick with it as well.
Those should do well. I would think that'd be a great night, like that December 30th one. Or maybe even the January 6th one to do Kenny and Phoenix. I would circle the calendar if I had to take a guess. So,
and whatever date that is, like, just make sure we can we get, like, Hugo Savinovich in?
Why not? Brutal.
Peligro.
Yep. So, MJF and Orange Cassidy face off in the main event for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. MJF back-to-back gets a win here. I thought this was all right. Had a little bit of goofiness because they're setting up this 7-on-7 match next week. Lots of stuff with guys outside the ring. But after that, they did do some good work with each other. So this is kind of, a match a lot of people wanted to see quietly, and I think it did pretty well in the ratings. So after that, MJF got the win, but Miro basically was the reason he got the win because he ran out after everyone was distracted, took Kip's head off, or took Cassidy's head off with a big clothesline, and MJF crawled over and got the pin. Security came out to try to get Miro out of there, but he beat everyone's ass and he like a fucking monster. And he was, posing at the end with a great shot that I've used as a meme. So yeah, that was Dynamite. Lots of stuff, but
lots of stuff,
lots of directions. Like, but these are things like it feels like you can if you pull on a string with something, like there's something behind everything they're doing right now. So.
Yeah, I have faith behind all of it. It just, I like so much of the talking segments or whatever else, and there was so much of it that, like, the wrestling matches were secondary mostly on this show. So if you are a person that is just here to get the 3.5 stars and up type thing, there's pretty much one match for you on this show. But, like, I still like this show. But it did at certain points. I remember looking, I was like, shit, it's 9:15 or 9:20 something. Like, I feel feel like they've done like 2 hours of stuff at this point right here. If we were to stop right now, like I mean, cause I think the Shaq thing was like some last minute thing they added on. Cause I think it was a tape show or whatever else, but yeah, it was a packed full of stuff.
They did 995,000, and it seemed like the directive between Winter Is Coming and this one was like, we're going to have like some of our biggest audiences. So we're going to shoot a bunch of shit to be in front of those folks.
Yeah, so NXT opens with a Finn Balor promo. He shows up. He says that the champ is back. He says some people love him, some people hate him, but if you want to know him, then come see him in the ring. So then Pete Dunne comes down. They stare at each other. Dunne says that, we kind of have similar backgrounds, so it would only make sense for us to eventually fight for the NXT title. Out comes O'Reilly. O'Reilly points out how how Dunne lost, his team lost, McAfee Goon lost at TakeOver, so he's basically saying that I won that match, I had the deciding fall, I should get the title shot against Balor, especially seeing that I broke his jaw, I put him on the shelf, like, you didn't, he's like, be honest, like, you pinned me, but did you really win the match? And I'm like, yeah, that means he won. So, it's like, yeah, you broke his jaw, like, yeah, people get sent to the hospital that still win fights, that's kind of how the fight game works. So, then out comes Damian Priest, and immediately my thought was, okay, so
this is the good old a bunch of niggas come out.
Right. It was one of those. But besides that, it was like, okay, champion comes out. This is a Triple H sets the table for what is going to be the path towards contendership / the title picture or whatever else, which he's relatively good at. The problem is, like, I feel like he has to do this like 2 times more per year than he has to compared to like previous years. So, the contenders are the guy that lost his last pay-per-view match.
Yes.
A person, or 2 guys that lost their last pay-per-view match. And one of the guys is somebody that Finn Balor beat on pay-per-view earlier in the year, in Damian Priest. And then, the third guy won the last pay-per-view match, but lost his title match to Finn Balor, like in, I think that was October, I think it was October. So, so there you go. Mid-October. Mid-October, like October 18th was, 31. So, there you go. So, Balor leaves and says, look, I don't care who wins. I'll leave that up to Regal, and he walks away. So everybody disperses. So Priest is the first one out to leave, and he leaves up the ramp, and all of a sudden Scarlett Bordeaux shows up. First time we've seen her since, obviously, Karrion Kross got injured at TakeOver in Your House in June. So they go face to face. He says to Scarlett Bordeaux, I can't remember what he said, but basically was like, whenever Kross is ready, I'm ready for him. Let's run it. So Scarlett smiles and she walks off. So then we end up getting, I think we go to commercial break. We come back to Pete Dunne backstage in the PC, and they're about to ask him about TakeOver, and then all of a sudden Killian Dane shows up, furious that Pete Dunne about a month ago murdered him with a car door. They have a pull apart with Geeks breaking it up, and that ends up leading to a match later on tonight between Pete Dunne and Killian Dane. So then we end up getting Jake Atlas versus Swerve. First time we've seen. Go ahead.
So we still adding Killian Dane on the shit.
Yeah. But it makes sense. Like, okay, it's a babyface. He got fucking murdered by a top heel. Of course, the babyface is supposed to, come back to get fed, or get fed to the top heel. So Look, after last year when Killian Dane was out here beating Matt Riddle before we knew about what we knew about Matt Riddle, is like, look, feed Killian Dane to every fucking body. That shit made, like, reverse the curse. So, we ended up getting Jake Atlas versus Swerve. This match went 5 minutes. I don't know why it went 5 minutes, but the work was good. It went 5 minutes. And then, ultimately, at the end, Atlas catches Swerve with a roll-up cradle victory roll thing and pinned him. And Swerve doesn't know how to handle it. He's furious. Atlas, because of their history, with dealing with Legado del Fantasma, wants the handshake. And Swerve doesn't shake his hand, and he goes up the ramp, and he's shaking mad as he's going up there. So I'm like, oh god, they're going to turn him heel. That's my first thought.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So from there,
one guy that I believe Brian Alvarez described Swerve as a great fucking babyface. So
that's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay. So we end up getting a promo from Ciampa where he cuts on Cameron Grimes because they're going to have a match. I can't remember what he said, but it was okay. Then we end up getting Grizzled Young Vets versus Imperium, Eichner and Bartel versus Everrise. This match is based off last week's thing where Everrise gets their ass whooped by Imperium and Grizzled Young Vets. It sets up the three-way match. Now, Rich, this was an actual legitimate three-way tag match where it wasn't two people in the ring while the third team just twiddles their fucking thumbs on the apron. It was three members.
The triangle match?
Yeah. So, all three members get in. Basically, Everrise tries to not get in the ring, so the four Grizzled Young Vets and Imperium all get down on the apron, and there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to hide, and they beat the shit out of Everrise. They beat the shit out of Everrise, pummel those geeks and they basically melt to the floor outside, and then Imperium and Grizzled Young Vets get in the ring and they wrestle, and it is very good wrestling, and it's just, attrition until they're both exhausted, and by that point, while they're wrestling and killing each other, Everrise has been just sitting there playing possum for forever. Like, you can see them on a knee, basically peeking up, looking on purpose so the camera can actually see both of them. Like, we're going to be real quiet. Hopefully these bears don't maul us again. So they got to the point to where they're exhausted, and then they pick the bones, and they get in, they get a couple spots in or whatever else. It's a few cool near falls, but ultimately they, Grizzled Young Vets in Imperium, get tags in to refresh. They go at it some more. There's cool, they get all their spots in. And then ultimately they end up getting, Grizzled Young Vets end up getting Imperium out of the match. They end up isolating, one of the Everrise dudes, and they end up blasting to death with their power bomb spot. It's basically like it's similar to the, oh my god, what's the Road Warriors move? Demolition for device.
The fucking Doomsday device. Also, the Young Bucks did a better Doomsday device than Road Warrior, Hog, and Animal ever did in their lives.
On the ramp.
In the opener.
Because it was on the ramp. So, basically, it's basically the, what's the name? Doomsday device. They did a Doomsday device. That's their finish step. It's not actually when you stacked up in the electric chair position. It's actually like you're in a power bomb position, so it turns into a assisted power bomb. And they end up pinning one of Everrise dudes. It's a fun match. I would recommend it. I like the story of it. It wasn't just a standard, like, okay, someone gets rolled out the ring. It's like, there's a reason why they got rolled out the ring. Because they got rolled up on and whooped. So, from there, oh, sorry. So then we get a video package, basically called the casualties of war games. So they sit basically everybody that was in war games down. They talk about how much of, how much of a car wreck the match was, and the cage was. Or I think they called it the structure instead, not match. So just a heads up. And they talked about some of the spots that were done. They talked about Dakota Kai. I don't know if she's actually really legitimately injured, but she's not on TV for at least the next couple of weeks, I guess, to sell the Eclipse onto the chair. They talked about the
neck brace.
Candice. Well, they didn't have her in a neck brace because remember the Eclipse from a couple weeks ago that Ember gave Indy Hartwell. Has Indy Hartwell in a bedazzled neck brace right now.
That's
so
right. Okay.
they're putting over her move. It's just like, if she hits it, you're fucked. So like they're putting over her move at least. But they didn't do the neck brace for Dakota. They talked about with Candice, they talked about the spot with her arm in Shotzi. They talked about the spot where Kyle O'Reilly damn near blinded Oni. And the one thing they did with it was they did this nice. They had everybody in it talking about it except for Oni, and you're like, and then they get to the part where they talk about the chair cutting Oni's eye or eyelid or whatever else, and they kept them off that. And after they showed it, then they show Oni's face, and you can see how scarred up his face is, and you're just like, that's actually nice storytelling of like they left him out there so like you can now see the after effect without going without, you see it and then you see it and then you see what happened. So that was cool. But, they basically, gave you more of a laundry list of stuff. They talked about how Bobby Fish, got hurt, which seems like he gets hurt every War Game. So maybe they should stop putting this poor man in there, this poor old man into War Games. I think it was a triceps injury or elbow injury. But yeah, they laid that all out. So then they go to interview Toni Storm and they ask her, why did, a couple weeks ago you turned on Ember and it seemed like y'all had a bit of a small bond in your short time back here. Why do you do that? She said, look, like I told you guys when I first came back, it's a brand new Toni Storm. And EO interrupts and says, look, War Games is over. And, the only problem I have right now is this NXT champion, or this NXT belt, but I just don't like you. Punches her in the face. They brawl backstage. They brawl to the ringside area. They brawl into the ring. EO gets the upper hand, goes up to the top rope to give her a moonsault. Toni rolls out, goes to leave. Ember, in response to how Toni turned on her by throwing her into the steps, is on the spot, throws her ass into the steps, and then throws her back into the ring. EO hits her with a moonsault. That was the segment.
Excitement.
You want to talk about the Abaddon?
No.
So, the thing for me is like, alright, so who is Toni going to have a program with? Is she going straight to the title?
Oh,
or is she going to have the match with Ember?
Did you see the announcement did you see the match that got announced?
What was the match that was announced?
So they announced Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm for next week.
Okay. So I guess she's shooting. I don't know why they did that match. Like, the match is clearly either right now, seeing that Raquel.
I mean, they did this match so they could do no finish. Like,
yeah, probably. yeah, probably. Which is like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so the actual program. What's the actual program? Like, EO has a match. Her next title match, big match, is going to be with Raquel, which is probably be on New Year's Eve or something like that, right? So, what are you going to do with Ember or Toni Storm at the time? Because you just did this, so it involves Toni Storm with a link to Ember and EO. So when are you going to do the Ember and Toni match? Because you had them turn on each other, you had her get her receipt back, so naturally you get them in the ring, you have them figure it out, right? But now you're telling me it's Raquel, or not Raquel, but
Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm.
Ripley and Toni Storm's like, why? Not that it's like a bad thing, but it's like, that's something you're supposed to save, or you should, in theory, save for later on. To get to eventually Toni Storm or Io versus whoever else she faces after Rhea Ripley. Or not Rhea Ripley, but Raquel. All the R's are screwing me up.
I don't think they're going to do nothing with Ember. I think she's just here to, like, make people look good now.
That's what I mean. She's having kick-ass matches. But if you're going to do that, put her in the ring with Toni so that you can give Toni the rub. Isn't that the point? If she's in here to lose to people, put her in the ring with someone you want to win, right?
Yeah. Boy, that Rhea Ripley. Boy.
Yeah. So then we end up getting Tommaso Ciampa versus Cameron Grimes. Good match. Didn't go as long as it could have, but basically they are wrestling and Ciampa's like just all over him, and eventually it turns to a strike battle. And Grimes ends up getting Ciampa's leg. He has to sell it. Strike battle ensues. Ciampa's not doing that well up until he catches Grimes coming off the top rope or the middle rope with one of his big knees, and then he ends up throwing him into the ropes, out to the apron, and then hit him with his DDT and gets the win. While this is all happening, Thatcher is down at ringside in a run back of what Thatcher did with or what Ciampa did to Thatcher a couple weeks ago. So ultimately, they go face to face. It's clear they're going to have another match somewhere down the line. Grimes, while Ciampa after the match is concerned with Thatcher, tries to get whose attention he tried to get. I'm blanking. Hold on, let me look at these notes. I was trying to do this off the top of my head without notes, but I'm gonna have to do it.
Coming off the dome, make sure y'all are following us on Twitter. Make sure you guys are laying down donations. Y'all can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the Fire Pro matches I've been doing commentary on. They've been pretty fun. I'm gonna keep trying to stall and kill time here.
Okay, so here we go.
There we go.
They confront each other. Thatcher meaning Thatcher and Ciampa after Ciampa wins. Ciampa walks back up the ramp. Grimes grabs Thatcher, kind of like, "Hey man, like, what is all this nonsense going on in the middle of my match?" Thatcher beats his ass and treats him like a geek. So, like, bottom of the barrel heel, Cameron Grimes gets his ass whooped again on NXT. Poor Cameron Grimes. Don't ever show anyone in WWE that you can be funny. Never. You only show them. You have comedic timing or comedic chops after you've gone up the card. Then you show it. You got to be dead ass serious, and then you show them the funny. So then we end up getting the Xia Li and Boa stuff this week, and this stuff was actually great.
I saw this.
This shit looked like it was out of a training montage in a action movie or martial arts movie. They are basically, after last week where they were brought before this woman that we can't see her face, and they were basically waterboarded, they are now Boa and Xia training and being trained to their breaking point, to where now like there is a rage inside them. Like Xia is working this wooden machine with strikes, and her knuckles are padded knuckles are bloody. And then Boa is basically being kendo sticked and beaten for toughness, and you can see the rage building inside them. And
this shit is shot on like super HD cameras too.
Yes,
like whatever technology is next, that's it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So this is the first week where like it seemed where this was actually good, or let me not say good, like, because last week was good, but this is the first time I was like, oh my god, this looks like they actually have some real path and direction with this, opposed to like they're just doing whatever, like mystical triad, crouching tiger, hidden dragon shit. And I was like, oh god, please don't do no racist shit. I'm just watching this whole thing like, please don't do no racist shit. And like, this was good. This was so well done. I was like, I'm willing to give this a chance. So we'll see where this goes from now. Like, if they fuck this up, it was like, how do you have this such a great idea for this segment, but like, whatever happens after this, you screwed this up. But this was good for this week.
All I know is if they out here getting hit with these sticks and getting whooped on and bleeding, like, they better not be losing no fucking DDT. Like, when they get back, they better be like whooping
monsters.
Ass.
They better be, Xia Li better be beating Casey Ganzaro and Lacey, and Kane Carter, like, within an inch of their lives.
They just fight each other forever like young lions.
Hey. I would say you gotta get it ready, but they ain't gonna never get put on like that.
Never.
Like, it's gonna be amazing when, like, Casey Catanzaro is the AEW Women's Champion in 2023. It's gonna be amazing. So, yeah, so then we end up getting, the Gargano family, their celebration of Johnny's third, North American title, run. They come out, they talk about, basically they're here to put over that now there is a family. And he said, we've always talked about the Johnny Gargano way, and this is the way. It points out Candice, him, Indy Hartwell, and Austin Theory. They're having Austin Theory play a dumbass, that's unfunny, and then like Indy like makes fun of him, and then like Johnny and Candice laugh at how stupid Austin Theory is. That's how it's running for now. I don't know if this is a long-term thing, but whatever. Basically, like, if you get in the way, I don't think he's actually said this, but basically, like, if you get in the way will get rid of you. Right? So, that's the gist of the promo. It was okay. Johnny made a point of saying, like, you know, they call me, Mr. Takeover. Well, because Candice is 2-0 in War Games, she is Miss Takeover. Which also is, like, funny because, like...
Has she ever won a match outside of those?
Candice?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not on Takeover. Hell no.
I mean, I guess that does make her, you know, because Johnny ain't exactly the most, you know, decorated record-wise either. So, you know, it kind of links up.
Johnny's Mr. Takeover. Johnny ain't been in not a one War Games. Not one. All four of them, he's missed all of them.
Smart.
Maybe.
Hey, look, Johnny, like, if anybody's going 45 minutes, it's going to be me by myself. Fuck you.
So then we're getting Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane. This actually is a good match. Because it's, you know, it's Pete Dunne. And Killian Dane always tries hard. Match is, you know, big guy versus technician. Eventually, at the end of it, they have it to where it looks like he's about to put away Dunne. Killian Dane's going to put away Dunne. Out come Oni and Lorcan for the distraction. Drake Maverick comes out as well. Drake Maverick tries to run them off with the chair. He thinks he's running them off, but he only hit one chair strike, so he turns his back up halfway up the ramp, back to the ring to get Killian Dane's attention, say, I got him out of here. And then as he turns his back to say, I got him out of here, Oni and Birch come right back down the ramp and stomp his ass out. Dane comes out to save him. He comes back to the ring, and after he makes a save for him, and Pete Dunne puts his ass away. He ends up hitting, he stomps his hand out after doing work on his hand, and then he hits him with a bitter end, which is, like, impressive because, like, that's a big dude to be doing a pump handle flatliner to. So he's getting to win, like, the, what do you call it? The new improved Pete Dunne, strong motherfucker. And my notes just stopped.
Yeah, that man cut. Phenomenal shape. You know.
Different. He's in a ridiculous tan situation, but like, I don't even think he needs, the tan don't need to be that ridiculous, but like, his physique is just like, it's jarring to still see him. And it's like, that's Pete Dunne, but it's not Pete Dunne. Like, that dude has had a total body transformation. Okay, so
I wonder how old Pete Dunne is now.
Is he even 28?
I feel that man been around forever, and then like he's just still here.
Okay, so
he's 27. He just turned 27 last month.
Yeah, which means like Bates like 24 or some shit, right? That's ridiculous.
Like, bro,
how the fuck are you that good at wrestling at 24? Bro, how are you that good at wrestling at like 24?
Because you start wrestling at 14.
Good point.
These niggas should be on top.
you know, it's not in WWE because they're too small, especially Bate. They'd be like, "No, you're way too small, dude." Trying to think, how tall do you think Bate is?
He's got to be a smooth like 5'6".
So you think he's Leo Rush's height?
Yes.
Okay.
But like way more wide.
Right. Yeah, that dude's jacked. That little dude's jacked. So, yeah. So, I missed this in my notes, but later on in the show, Priest comes out. I forgot what reason for, but Karrion Kross comes out and he murders him on the ramp. At the top of the ramp, he runs him into some of the effects or whatever else, and then he power bombs him onto a prop that's a table or whatever else. Priest was supposed to have a match with a tag match where he's tagging with Leon Ruff against Theory and Gargano next week. So after that happens, we get a backstage thing with Ruff asking about Priest's health, and Gargano and Theory roll up and say, "Hey, you so tough. Your tag team partner's out. Why don't you just how don't you just run a 2-on-1 handicap match?" Dumbass Leon Ruff was like, "Okay," and then out of nowhere, the great honorable babyface Kushida shows him and says, "Nah, you ain't got to do that. I'll tag with you." Why, oh why, is Kushida constantly saving these babyfaces and giving all these babyfaces that are down on their luck chances? Like, he gave Drake Maverick, remember there was a three-way tie for the A block of the interim cruiserweight tournament, and
so apparently Gato was stealing from Triple H.
You stupid. The benevolent,
the kindness of this Japanese man's heart.
So he's basically doing the Tetsuya Naito.
Yes.
That's funny. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Yes, the benevolent Japanese baby faces, when you are in a bind, will just bail you out of the goodness of their hearts. Like, that's interesting. But yeah,
right, it's just like, I don't know if you've seen Cobra Kai, but the real Mr. Miyagi is dead, right?
Okay.
So there's some wisdom that needs to be had at a certain point, right? And then there's a random fisherman that is out there that they run into. I don't believe that the fisherman is Asian, but we know what that was supposed to be.
Okay, gotcha.
It was supposed to be.
He is the figure of that. Okay, I get you.
It was supposed to be Mr. Miyagi.
Gotcha.
Giving some wisdom to solve a problem.
Gotcha.
Like, be there for you in times of need.
Okay, so, so Kushida, says that he'll be the tag team partner. So next week it'll be Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Austin Theory and Gargano. I'm sure that Team Gargano will end up winning, but just the idea of Gargano and Kushida in the ring together is like cool to me. So
maybe they can run it at New Year's Evil.
Please God, there are so many Gargano matches that are just left. Like, it was like a real match. Like, I want a Swerve takeover match. I want an O'Reilly takeover match. I want a Kushida takeover match. Like, there are so many guys for Gargano to still wrestle that is like, there's no excuse for this to happen with like him and Ciampa, and it feeling like stale in this way. Like, there are so many more matchups to actually get to. You just have to actually build up these other guys to stop being lazy.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we end up getting Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon. And Raquel Gonzalez, well, let me start first where the real credit needs to go to first foremost. Ember Moon is still fucking great. Ever since she's came back, she's been fucking great. I don't know who did her Achilles surgery, but kudos to them. Thank God for them. Hopefully this is the same person that did Kevin Durant's Achilles. And hopefully
I hear Kevin Durant looked great tonight.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, in the preseason game.
That's great news. That's great news.
Like he had like 11 points in the first quarter or something like that. Him and Kyrie like giving it to the Wizards.
That's great news. Oh man, please let Kevin Durant come back at the same percentage that Ember has returned with, because she's as great as she ever was. She is selling her ass off. She's bumping her ass off. She's incredible with strikes and pacing and timing and speed and accuracy. She is just putting on this top-notch performance around this green woman that, like, and the greenness works in a Goldbergian sort of sense where, like,
so she was Ric Flair bumping around Lex Luger?
I wouldn't say that. She was game. Like, it was a classic big man, little man, but with the addition of, like, Ember doing the modern indie stuff. So, it was all cool. There was a spot where, like, you know, it's a bunch of, I'm trying to hit her, you know, use speed, catch her in a weird angle, try to hit her with a rolling arm drag. Raquel just basically stops the momentum dead in the center, pull her back up to her feet, and then throw her off the ropes again, and then do more stuff, and then, you know, comes off the ropes, goes for Hurricane Rana, a spot, or a twirl, head scissors spot. I catch you again, and then I hit you with a slam, that sort of stuff all throughout the match. So after all that stuff happens, Raquel's on top. She's beating the shit out of Ember. Ember ends up getting her outside the ring. And the apparatus that housed and brought up and down the War Games cage is still there. And while I'm watching it, I'm like, why is that still there? They kept it there so that they could do this spot to where Ember has the advantage, has Raquel outside by the announce table. Ember goes to climb. Raquel stops her, gets her up, and she's already in like powerbomb position and slams her onto the announce table. She lawn darts Ember into the post at one point. Gets her back into the ring. She goes to the opposite corner. While Ember is in a corner, she goes running full steam ahead. Ember moves. She ends up taking the post as a Braun Strowman spot. Ember goes for the eclipse. Raquel stops her as her feet hit the ground. She stops in mid-air, or not mid-air, but, you know, move. She gets her up for her one-arm chokeslam powerbomb thing. Ember reverses out of it and basically Raquel stops her, puts her back in it again, and drops her on it. Like, this is like 3.5, 3 3/4, another fun-ass Raquel match. So then out comes Tony. Tony, pissed that Ember, you know, beat her up or helped her get beat up early in the show, wants to get the one up again. And then out comes, and, you know, they stomp out Ember a little bit. Then all of a sudden all these damn R's. Rhea comes down. So then you get Rhea pulls Ember out the ring, climbs up into the ring, and wants to go face to face with Tony. Raquel grabs Tony, gets her out the way and out the ring, and then face to face again, Rhea and Raquel. It's not over. We are getting the second Hoss battle eventually, and I can't wait. So, and that's how they end NXT. So,
yeah, man.
Basically everything they're doing, or most of the things they're doing to women is working, and eventually they'll figure out the men, hopefully. Yeah. But, I think from here we can get to Triplemania.
Yeah, man. Triplemania. Gotta say, I watched the whole show up and down. This was one of the better shows. Very fun show. One of the better shows of the year.
Now, you have watched how many Triplemanias now? 3 or 2?
At least 3.
Is this okay? Where does this rank on your experience viewing Triplemania?
This is the best one.
Okay.
I think this is the best, even with no crowd there. I think they did a great job with the commentary with Hugo Savinovich, just like dipping inside of English a little bit, but predominantly speaking Spanish, but giving us just enough to where we're not like totally in the dark, but always bringing the incitement. The arena was set up like wonderfully, and that AAA mat is hard as hell. So it's like, it just worked in a way that sometimes empty arena wrestling tends not to. But, there were 4 matches on the show, which I would recommend would be the first 2 matches and the last 2 matches. The highlight, of course, being, the match with Kenny Omega and Laredo Kid. I'll go through a couple, I'll drop the names of the folks. So, like, we had Nuevo Poder del Norte versus Dinastia Maximo and
you
Mr.
say D-Nasty? You said there's a dude named D-Nasty?
Dynastia.
D-Nasty.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And Mr. Iguana, who is a Zydeco.
Okay.
Very fun match. Super opener. I would probably give the opener 4 stars. Lots of like huge spot fest, flips, everything. Like highly recommended. Then there was a World Tag Team title match, AAA World Title belts, Lucha Brothers against Los Mercenarios, which is Texano and Rey Escorpion. I watched a Pentagon and El Texano match a couple weeks ago. Texano's a unmasked heel, and he had Pentagon being the babyface. It was pretty funny. And also Los Jinetes del Air, which is Mr. C's Jr. and Octagon Jr. And this was a 3-way match. And Pentagon, basically Texano rolled up on Pentagon fairly early in the match with a barbed wire baseball bat and bash him in the fucking knee, and they carry Pentagon off throughout the whole match. So Phoenix is by himself, like essentially. And Phoenix showed up in a denim jacket in his entrance. It was pretty funny. But yeah, this was another awesome match. Lots of physicality, flips, and this one went about 14 minutes. Finish comes when Pentagon comes back, and then the doctor's like chasing behind him, like, come back here, like, don't do this. And then he gets in and he does a package pile driver and the stomp with Ray, and then they retain. There was a timed. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say there's a up next. There's a.
Hold on before you move to the next match.
Yeah.
If because I tried to sort all of this out after Josh asked a question and I got it wrong. Mrs. C's Jr. is Bandito's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because remember, like, there's a million, like, between Mystico 2, Mr. C's 2, and Caristico. Because, like, the original Mystico is the original Sin Cara, who is the original Mr. C's, who is the original Caristico. So I was mixing this stuff up. So, Mr. C's Jr. is Bandito's brother, and then Mystico 2 in not AAA, but in CMLL is Dragon Lee and Rush's brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So just, there's a lot of shit going on if you like
whole lot of choppers.
Yeah. I don't watch much Lucha Libre, so it's like I got confused. So like I had to straighten this shit out of my head because they be out here ripping each other. They be ripping off gimmicks and shit all the time.
Yeah. Speaking of that, unfortunately, so they had a wonderful ceremony for La Parka, who died. Now, it's not the La Parka that was in WCW. It was the AAA La Parka, and he died earlier this year. And they inducted him into the AAA Hall of Fame. They had a choreographed like dance number with a guy, and it was like a knockoff of Thriller or whatever. And it was like, it was fun. Let's just say that. Okay. And then they did all that and, did the ceremony with, Roldan, I believe, who's the, owner of AAA.
Okay.
They also had bands and rap battles. They had rap battles in between the matches, but they were in Spanish, so you couldn't understand what they were saying, but you could clearly feel the energy. There was one part where Psycho Clown was in there with them, which is hilarious.
Psycho Clown out here rapping?
He wasn't rapping. He was just there. Okay. He had a mic, but he wasn't rapping. Okay. Then they had a rock band. I believe it was called like Molotov, if I'm not mistaken, and they're like the biggest rock band in Mexico. And it was like just between the matches, there was a lot of time the show took, but there was the time battle royal for the Luchadoras. So Lady Shani beat Big Mommy. Let's see if I can nail these names. Chick Tormenta, Fabi Apache, who I'm a fan of. I've seen her a couple times.
Yeah, the Apache sisters are all good.
Hades, Lady Marvia, La Hydra, and Mamba and Pimpinella was in this match. So Pimpinella is also Exotico. There was also another, I believe Mamba they had Exotico versus Exotico. It was a face-off in the Battle Royal. It was, I think the Battle Royal went a little long. At the beginning of the match, it was better than it was at the end, but it seemed like, for me, the hot feud that I'm interested in is Fabi Apache and La Hydra. Every time I've seen them fight each other, it's been on. So,
have they had any of those fights outside?
Yes, they were in a tag match, I believe. I watched the other day. It was La Hydra and I don't remember the young lady's name, but they were on opposite sides. Fabi Apache and La Hydra both had partners, and they were running it. So after that, we had a 6-man tag. This was a big walk and brawl. This was the Psycho Circus, Monster Clown, Murder Clown, and Psycho Clown. Monster Clown Murder Clown damn neared himself. And someone said if La Parka had trained in the WWE Performance Center, he would be dead. So, but La Parka actually caught him. LA Park, bigger than I've ever seen him.
Bigger than like earlier, like last year?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was Blue Demon.
He reminds me of, even though it makes no sense why it reminds me of that. Do you remember like Gucci at his heaviest?
Yes.
When he was out here looking pregnant?
Yes.
That's like, I had that same thought that like when I saw La Parka last year, I was like, that man is eating well. Yeah. Well.
Like, Psycho Circus, they defeated Blue Demon Jr., El Hijo de la, Little LA Park and Big LA Park, essentially. So this is a big walk and brawl. This wasn't really too good. Then we had a tag match. This was the Marvel match, and this was, Terra Purpura, which is Brian Cage, Venenoid, which was Black Taurus, and they defeated Arcano, who was Leo Rush, and Leonda Americana, so Captain America, and he was Daga, so Captain America was Mexican, so I thought that was pretty fun.
Arcano, or sorry, is it Arcano or Arachno, or whatever? Either way,
Arcano.
Either way, is Leo Rush playing Spider-Man or Miles Morales, either one. Cage was playing Thanos, right?
Terra Purpura, whoever that is.
I'm assuming that he's purple, so I'm assuming it's probably Thanos. And then what was
Black
the one? Black Taurus is who?
I don't know.
Is it basically Spanish for Venom?
Venom, yes.
Yeah, so he's Venom from Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Yeah.
He had the spider on him.
Yeah. So Venom from Spider-Man. Yeah.
So that was okay. I think they those are guys that don't normally wrestle in masks, and it seemed like Cage's gear was too small for him. So this was just, I would probably say it was like a 3-star match.
I saw a couple spots in Leo Rush. it looks like a fish to water doing some lucha libre spot.
But the match that we were here for definitely delivered. AAA title match: Kenny Omega against the Laredo Kid. Kenny was seconded by Michael Nakazawa, and then Laredo Kid was seconded by El Hijo del Vikingo, and this was excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. I was following on real time on Twitter. Timeline was going nuts. I actually bought a near fall submission attempt, the second one.
Yep.
And it was like, oh shit, like, is this man really like about to lose? Like, they did some brawling outside the ring that was pretty good. They did a big spot with the tire. Apparently, did you hear the story about the tires, James?
No, but it did not look secure, and Vikingo was out of his mind jumping off the top of the lift, and then I don't know who's crazy. I don't know who's crazy. Yeah, Laredo Kid jumped off the tire that wasn't actually like attached for real, and then Vikingo jumped off the forklift on top, like the top of the forklift from a higher distance. So it's like, if there's any smallest mistake made, like someone's like splatting on concrete from like 15, 20 feet. Or not 20 feet, but like 15 to 12 feet. It was insane.
So apparently it was some tire company that had a sponsorship, so they worked that into the match. Okay. But yeah, this was like Kenny Omega in a completely different environment. It was incredible. He comes off like a total superstar. Big entrance. Laredo Kid is in his gear, they said, that was like the beginning of his career, like an ode to the beginning of his career. And it seemed like this was like the story I read into it, kind of like the story within the story is like Laredo Kid's a hired gun to have great matches, essentially. And boy, did they fucking do it. They did a lot of cool stuff. Michael Nakazawa didn't catch Kenny for shit on one of these dives.
Yeah, I was saving it like he went to the Mike Mazzana School of Not Catching a Bitch. Like, I don't understand. And here's the thing for those that they said he felt all
bad. Like he was, he was pretty upset with himself.
Like for those that don't know or those that didn't see it, the layout of it is they're inside the building on concrete, and the rings in the dead center, of course, with a carpet over the top. But the thing is, it's just carpet. It's not padding. So basically, when Kenny does a Terminator flip dive over the top ropes and Nakazawa doesn't catch him, he basically lands ass first on pure or next to pure concrete. And I was like, when it happened, this when I talked about earlier in the show, I was like, Jesus Christ, Michael, you have nothing else to do but to catch this fucking guy. And he lands right on his ass. I'm like, dude, like, if Kenny keeps up at this rate, obviously you expect his friend to catch him, but apparently not. But if he keeps at this rate, he's going to be a fucking wreck eventually.
Yeah. Which is crazy because like he caught like Laredo Kid from like
perfectly seconds later.
Perfectly before, yeah.
Yeah, like after that happens, because Laredo Kid moved out the way, Nakazawa it slides out the way on the floor, and then Laredo Kid hits a acai moonsault, a high arcing acai moonsault right onto Kenny, and Kenny catches him perfectly. Yeah. And it was like, damn, bro. I guess he's showing him how it's really done. Like, this is how you catch somebody from not fucking dying on landing on pure concrete or next to pure concrete.
Laredo Kid, as I mentioned before, he, like, this match, it was lightning fast at times. Like, he was just doing shit like where, like, springboard RKO off the top rope. They had a really cool reversal for the one-winged angel where he got basically put in one of them Yahweh submissions.
He victory rolled through and then slapped on almost like a sit-out or no, like the Tanahashi tap-out. Yeah. The TTO from Jay White thing. Like he rolls through, gets to his feet, slaps on the Texas Cloverleaf. It looks like he's about to hit like the Ripley Prism thing, and then he sits out on it and it turns to the TTO.
Yeah. Well, this was fucking excellent. Like, and
crazy V triggers, of course.
Crazy V triggers,
But like the V trigger started flowing, and then Laredo Kid ended up getting like Kenny's leg and worked over the knee, and then slapping on the leg submissions, and like Kenny's movement was hampered by that point in time. He's selling the knee. Like, It's one of Kenny's best matches of the year. Like
this is brilliant. I went 4 3/4. I was a coward.
I'm at 5. I'm at 4, not 5. I'm sorry. I'm at 4.5 to 4 3/4. I'm probably I'm probably gonna rewatch it or whatever else. But it's probably that's why I give it like 4 3/4. Like I like this more than any of Kenny's matches in AAA. So like, I like it more.
Same.
I like that more than this match with Ray Phoenix was that in last year?
That was the middle of last year.
Yeah.
Like September, and then he wrestled Dragon Lee in December.
I never saw the Dragon Lee match.
I'm sure you can get your hands on it. If not, I may be able to find it. But yeah, this another big title defense. He gets the win in this like he's fucking Laredo Kid's on the top rope, like look like he's about to go for some type of moonsault or something. Nakazawa gets up, distracts him somehow. Kenny catches him and then like pops him on his shoulders, and he's facing the outside of the ring and gives him the he's on the second rope with Laredo Kid on his shoulders in electric chair position, and he's inside the ring on those ropes facing out outside the turnbuckle.
Right. So then he basically falls back, and as he falls back, one wing angel off the second rope going backwards for the win. It was an incredible finish. Yes.
It was like, oh my fucking God. Like I was immediately on Twitter just like losing it. So, epic match. Someone put a meme out like, yeah, somebody gotta go get Laredo Kid. Like they said, Triple H is gonna be trying to sign that man in the morning. Like essentially.
I mean, I saw that joke and I thought to myself, like, if he was trying to get him, it's already happened before because he was been on AEW before. Like he was on, was it Fight for the Fallen? Or was
he's on Fyter Fest?
Yeah, he was on Fyter Fest in that triple threat match with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros and Vikingo and So I get the joke, but like, nah, you should use that joke last year.
So Kenny wins. Tries to shake his hand. Oh, and Hugo's fucking fantastic on commentary.
Oh, yes, he is.
This whole match. He's going to get votes for best announcer.
And then more people watch Lucha, he would be getting those anyway. So, like, Rich made the point that he should be stealing. I'm like, ain't nothing stolen. That man's great. If more American fans actually watched, like, the Japanese commentary on New Japan World, they would be like, Milano Collection AT and Liger and whoever the play-by-play guy, that's my favorite announced team in the world. I love watching Liger lose his fucking mind during the G1.
I've enjoyed getting into AAA the last like month or so. Do you
like it more than? I know you've watched CMLL before. Do you like it more than CMLL?
I don't know who CMLL really has right now. So like, it's a case like where I just haven't watched as much CMLL lately, but I definitely like AAA because like it's a little more outlaw. So CMLL I think is real pretty in CMLL. Like it's very traditionalist or whatever. It's the oldest promotion, but AAA like it's like they're not afraid to do like more wild shit, I think. So I don't know. AAA might be more my lane, but I would probably have to watch more CMLL to see if that's like true. I've
watched 2 CMLL shows, and I think I got spurred on to like the Friday shows because they go right up on YouTube. So I've watched them. I've enjoyed them, but it's never been like I need to go back to see like see the tapestry of the long form storytelling. Because I always get told that like Lucha Libre storytelling is like don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your brain. So it's like, and they also don't care about the belts or whatever else. It's like, so for me, it's like I'm willing to watch it if I get recommendations from like Dr. Lucha or Lucha Blog on like this match is crazy, go watch it, or I hear word of mouth. Like I'll definitely go watch Lucha Libre, like CML or CML or AAA stuff. But it's like I rarely get that kind of recommendation, or maybe I'm just not seeking it out from the right people. Because because Dylan actually likes Lucha. So, and last year he was like, Lucha's really down. So it was like, how do you guys, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, thinking of all the, like, great Mexican wrestlers in this generation, and I can go at least 10 deep on it. And I'm like, how? How was, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm thinking all the people in AAA, right? And then I think all the people that I know that, like, still do CML stuff just, like, between Ring of Honor, too, or New Japan. I'm just like, how is it down? All these dudes are Raw. You know, obviously, you know, politics and whatever else and blah, 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 but still, it's like, that doesn't seem right that I can go 10 deep on Raw people, but, like, nah. It just ain't clicking.
Well, I think last year they did have the death of Paco Alonso, which may have, like, done something to CMLL, but there was a 2-minute promo after where Kenny called out El Hijo del Vikingo for his next title match. Said basically, set it up, run it. You know, I want to see you when I see you. So the match that I've been wanting for a long time is going to happen at some point. Can't fucking wait. Like, this man Vikingo showed up also after the tag team title match and did one of the craziest hurricanranas I can ever think of seeing in my life.
The only way I can describe it is somebody's on the second rope outside the ring, and then he's on the top rope balancing off of him, and then he jumps off and does like a 720 tornado to where it attaches into a hurricanrana, and he hurricanranas this dude off of that middle rope onto a group of like 2 or 3 people. It is fantastic.
And he had jeans on.
Yeah, that too. It just, yeah, he was in streetwear. Like, he did this with like sneakers on. It was fucking incredible. I'm going to find a longer version of it, and I'm going to add.
You probably find it on that same video.
Okay, so I'm going to find it, and I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to do exactly what I did that I showed you, but I only had a shorter version. That's going to be my first ever TikTok video. And I'll put the link in the description to it.
Yeah. So that was excellent, and it was very hard to follow this match. I don't think, like, obviously it didn't top it, but this main event after, between Pagano and Chessman, so...
Which one is dressed like Sting? For like Wolfpack Sting?
That is Chessman, I believe.
Chessman? Okay.
So, this match was batshit insane. I have no other way to describe it other than that. Weapons, double juice, big moves.
You told me it was triple juice.
Shit. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So you think it was double juice. Like, you know, both men are bleeding. They're hitting each other with weapons. There's all types of run-ins. But it's not like detracting from the action. Like, there's no rules in this match. It's a hair versus hair match. So, like, there's just people coming in and, you know, they're fighting them off and everything like that. And it's wacky. It's hardcore. They're hitting each other with weapons. They are fighting everywhere, brawling around the joint. Hugo Savinovich gets crashed with a guitar by Pagano, and he fucking blades. So we have triple juice. And then, like, there's this big fall at the end. I believe I summarized it all in a tweet last night, where it was just like, I can't believe this. Like, I was like, one of the most insane main events, run-ins, dives, falls through tables and chairs, double juice, big moves, the announcers blading, and they did like a big, huge, like, fall for the finish, like, with the move. Like, it was insane. Like, just, and for them to be the biggest show of the year, it should have been insane. So, go out of your way to see, like, at least the last 2 matches. If you have time for the opener and the second match, definitely check those out. But I definitely enjoyed myself watching this show. Like, it was free, as, you know, most, like, AAA stuff is. And it's just like, well, yeah, highly recommended. Can't front. Like, had a lot of fun. And just the announcers, and it's so energetic, and you know, it's something I don't watch every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk about this. I feel like me and you talk about this like at least twice a year. It's like, why don't we watch more Lucha Libre? I feel like
I think I'm going to just start watching more. Like,
yeah,
because I have been watching more. So, like,
right,
trying to slowly get into it.
I think it was mostly like, okay, you know, New York Wrestlemania weekend, the Bandito and Ospreay match. We all, and, you know, and then also, you know, Bandito has that freaking incredible double, I don't even know what the hell you call it, what he did in, G1 Supercard, where he has like two dudes and he basically does like moonsaulting,
Scott Hall like suplex.
Yeah, or Scott, the Scott Steiner fall away slam thing where he's basically like, he turns it into a moonsault. Like, it's just incredible. But it's like, you watch that guy, you see Cavaneri in person, he's doing floor dives, you know, he's doing top rope the floor dives on concrete. He doesn't care. He's out of his mind. You know, you see someone like Flamita, you see people like Puma King, and then you throw in like the actual heavy hitters like, you know, the Lucha Bros, Vikingo, you know, it's, there's so much fucking talent. Dragon Lee down there is like, I don't understand. I understand there's two companies, two major companies, and there's also a bunch of indies down there, but it's like, how is this not like a gigantic thing? Like outside, like, how is, Stardom more popular this year to Americans than CMLL or AAA? Like, to me, that's like, it makes no sense. But whatever. But yeah, like, we seemingly talk about this like twice a year. But yeah, I guess it's time to move on to, or you have any other thoughts, or you want to move on to New Japan?
No, I would just say go out of your way to see the last two matches. If you have time, check out the first two.
Okay. I'll get around to the three matches. Because I only saw the
also
5 matches.
Add that Mexico match of the year. You know, look, I wouldn't know, but you know, add that to Kenny.
Wow. Anyway,
you know, add that to the resume.
Wow. So
my dog making a late Flair Thez run. You know, trying to sneak in the back door. You know, all you boys.
Yeah. I think he'll get votes. I think he has a shot at placing, but I don't think he'll win.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah. So yeah.
But if he fucking steals this,
that'd be funny. I think he has a far better shot of winning in-ring performer of the year. With his resume, it might, you know, it's obviously either one is going to get held against it because he was a tag guy for most of the year, but still, I think he has enough matches to place for most outstanding wrestler. Anyway, yeah, Best Super Juniors final and World Tag League final. I'll start with the first because I know you didn't watch the World Tag League, unless I'm mistaken. You didn't watch one.
No, I did not.
Finjuice versus Guerrillas of Destiny. Good match, probably like 3.5. The match starts early with Jado with no mask on, no long sleeve. He's just out there in like, you know, basically like a cut off shirt, like sleeves cut off and like open, like bare face. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen his bare face in feels like years. So match starts. Juice runs off the ropes. Jado grabs the leg, ref sees it, throws his ass out. He's like, no, I'm not going nowhere. Ref gets the young boy, so Yota Tsuji, and I think, I don't know if it's Clark Connors or not. I can't remember. But 3 young boys all grab him by one limb and like walk his ass out of the building in the spot, and then they cut to a far away hard cam that's following him and the spotlight's on him, and they're carrying, and they inch by inch, dragging his ass out of there, and I was like, this is beautiful. Outstanding. Get his ass the fuck out of here. I'm tired of this these bullshit sheen ass Bullet Club motherfuckers. So, they're having a match. It's going well as it's happening. So then all of a sudden later in the match, as Babyface seem to have things in control, Jado comes back out. And he is out just to cause a distraction. The ref comes out and says, hey, I already threw your ass out. Leave. Don't come back. While the ref is taken, Kenta shows up with the United States briefcase and bashes Juice over the head with it. So then ultimately, G.O.D., they hit the super power bomb. And I don't know if Juice's head hit Matt or not, but it was a gift worthy spot. And God ends up winning the World Tag League. I think, is this back-to-back years?
FinJuice won last year. This is the first time GOD's ever won.
Okay, so they were the champions at the end of last year. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we can get to the Best of Super Juniors final. What were your thoughts on it, Rich?
I thought it was a psychological match for most of it.
Yep.
And then it fired up when he ripped the mask off.
Yep.
I loved that part when they started slapping each other. This wasn't the most athletic Hiromu match I've ever seen or anything like that. But I thought it was a excellent match. I would have probably said 4.5. If you want to say it was slow, maybe you could go 4.25. But I'll give him the 4.5 on that. I think people are batshit out of their minds that gave this 5 stars, but maybe they may be deeper into watching the whole story between Despy and Hiromu, and it's hit on another level for them than it did for me. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was an excellent match. These guys clearly work well together, and Desperado, when he revealed himself, it makes you wonder if he's going to stay unmasked and try to go forward under his real name. I saw a lot of people sharing it. It starts with a K. I don't remember, but these guys, anytime it lines up with something I like in wrestling, which is all right, the big rival might not necessarily be someone like another big star. If there's a big star, his rival might not necessarily be the equal star to him, right? Mm-hmm. But it's the rival for him. Mm-hmm. It's the motherfucker that just you hate. And it's not about star power. It's like college basketball. It's not about rankings. I just hate this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And that's what Despy and Hiromu seems like to me. And there's another side to the story which I want to explore that is hilarious that I hear about. But I thought it was an awesome final.
Yeah, I'm with you. I heard people were going up for this match crazy, and then I'm watching it and I'm liking the match, and then I thought to myself, this match is not nearly the level that people were claiming this thing to be as a 5-star match, some match of the year contender. So all of a sudden I get the 20-minute call, and I'm like, bruh, we're at 3.5 right now. What the fuck is going on? And then 30, 45 seconds later, Hiromu rips at that mask and rips the top half of it off. And keep in mind, what they did the first 20 minutes was all very good wrestling. It is simple textbook. They're having a simple textbook wrestling match. That just felt like it was in, third gear, but never cranked up to 5. So you're we're at the 20-minute mark. Where is it? And Hiromu matches. So you're we're used to getting fourth gear out the gate. So, and most of the work is based around, him working Hiromu's leg. So he rips off the top half of this mask and you're just what is this? So then Desperado gets up, and he takes the bottom half of the mask off, and then they just fucking go at it with these huge chops, and it was a mini series of what Hiromu had did earlier in the year with Dragon Lee or Rhea Lee back in February at New Beginnings in Osaka, and they start going at it. Earlier in the match, Desperado had took off the one of the turnbuckle pads, corner pads, and threw Hiromu into it. We get to a point where, Hiromu does this spot where he basically runs somebody from a fireman's carry position, basically downwards into a corner. They go back to that unprotected corner, and Hiromu at the fast, as hard as he could, runs him into the exposed turnbuckle. By the time Desperado gets back up, you see him sound like he's just fucking misery. He gets back up, you see this gigantic welt from the middle turnbuckle ring in his back, and then you see the bottom turnbuckle ring where he ran to, and it hit him right in the shoulder, in the back of his shoulder. Just big. They're already bruised and turning purple during the middle of the match. There's a gigantic slap to the neck where you see a gigantic bruise on Desperado's neck. They beat the living hell out of each other. Like after that mask went off, they threw them chops and they start doubling each other and they were starting to chop each other from the mount. It was just outrageous. And then, Time Bomb 2 happens. Desperado kicks out of that. Great kick out. And then they do a couple more kick outs and then ultimately, Hiromu wins. But it was like the last, 10 or 11 minutes of that match was just that. If that had been the whole match, I can see why people are saying this is like some match of your contender. But the first 20 minutes, it was not that. But they cranked, once they got into 5, it wasn't 5, they got into 6. That shit was outstanding the last 10 minutes. Outstanding. Yeah. Some of the best wrestling I've seen, this year, that stretch. So I can see why people love it so much, like, cause it was well built and built to that and it just jumped up low. But like for me, it was just like, it wasn't, if it had been a little bit better, I can see it, but it just wasn't that for me because it was clearly like two different levels of wrestling for the 31 minutes of that match. But still, I gave it 4.5. Great match, another great Hiromu match. And I heard he had a bunch of other great matches in the tournament that I will check out. Jeremy gave me a list of recommended matches, and like half of it's Hiromu, so I'll get around to watching it.
Yep.
But yeah, Hiromu wins, and he says that he wants to fight or wrestle the winner of the Super J Cup, which conveniently was the next day. It was taped, but aired the next day, broadcast the next day. So I don't know what order it will be, but it seems like Hiromu will
it's been announced as we put out this show.
Okay.
So he's going to face him on the 4th. So Hiromu, I guess, didn't get the message. Like, he wants to make things harder on himself. Like, so, the winner will get Ishimori the next day. They announced Tanahashi versus the Great Okan.
For the 4th?
Yes.
Does he have a match on the 5th?
Not that I know of. And then Taichi and Sabre against Tamatonga Tangaloa, in addition to Naito and Ibushi and Okada and Ospreay. I'm just going to say it. I know. I know that, Great Okan is somebody they're trying to get started. I understand. But I thought, like, this was supposed to be for the, like, casuals. Like, they couldn't run, like, like, they've already beat Okan too, so it's not like he's been protected. So, I guess, they set this up in the World Tag League, where he destroyed Tanahashi, I believe, a couple times. I'm sorry. I just want more for Tanahashi. I want him fighting, in a perceived higher position with a, I guess, this is just what they want to do.
Well, seeing how he's like still the second most over wrestler in the company at worst.
Yeah. This is his young boy. I'm sure Keepin It Strong Style is going to explain on Tuesday all the reasons that, we should be excited for this, but I'm sorry, I'm not, especially when I have a screenshot of Ishii and Tanahashi staring each other down, and Tomohiro Ishii's not booked, right now, as they've announced matches for the 4th and 5th. He'll probably be defending the Never 6-Man belt somewhere. Yeah, it's hard to fake excitement for Tanahashi wrestling the Great Okan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you. So you said that that the Okada Ospreay match is for the 4th.
Yeah.
So in Ibushi versus Naito is the 4th as well.
It is.
What is Jay White doing on the 4th?
Not wrestling.
I'm sure he'll be in some multiple-person tag match. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for New Japan. unless we're missing something. Oh, well, Super J Cup. El Phantasmo won Super J Cup second year in a row via cheating, like how you won it last year. Kevin Kelly was furious every time when that man cheated Leo Rush in their match at the end. They
announced Shingo and Cobb for the 5th.
Okay. For the Never, right?
For the Never, and there is something else. But go ahead. I'll look it up. Oh, Evil and Sonata. Yuck.
Yeah.
I don't care. It will never be over with me.
Yeah. We saw it during New Japan Cup. We saw it in the final of the B Block. Don't care. I like Sonata. Don't care. It's evil. Everything evil. Everything is evil. No, everything sucks. So, yeah. As far as Super J Cup goes, I only watched one match. It was Leo Rush match. I take that back. I tried to watch the first 5 minutes of ACH versus TJP. It was well wrestled, but it was boring, and I could not stop staring at TJP's fake Concords.
Yikes.
You know how Bret Hart's boots used to look like the Concords, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine those, except they actually are like shaped like the Concords, and it's like into a preposterous way. Like, it even has like the patent leather back part on the heel. It's like you are clearly trying to make these like Jordans, but they're actually like boots, and they look like boots, and they're tall like boots. What are you doing, TJP? This is some of the most fraudulent shit I've ever seen. Like, you may as well have one of R. Kelly's mesh throwback jerseys. That's how fraudulent this is. You may as well have a one of those Yao Ming throwback jerseys he had in the Throwing video. This is how fraudulent those boots look. So whatever. But yeah. I got like 5. It's like a 9-minute long match. I got like 5 minutes. Like, yo,
a Chicago Bulls football jersey.
Yeah. R. Kelly did do that. Lots of fraudulent stuff. A lot of $7 bill ass jerseys where R. Kelly rocked back in his day, back in his prime. But yeah. So yeah, I got like, it's like a 9-minute match. I got like 5 minutes. So I was like, yo, this is well wrestled, but I'm bored. I was like, let me get to Leo Rush. Leo Rush came out in this incredible gear. It's black and red with yellow polka dots. And it just looks awesome. And him and El Phantasmo went out there for like 15 minutes. It was a very good match. Phantasmo is selling kind of like how the Young Bucks sold, like they were off for so long, so they're rusty, so they were botching spots on purpose. El Phantasmo was doing that. And then as he's botching stuff up, Leo Rush is laughing at him. And then El Phantasmo was like, when's the last time you worked? I haven't worked in months, or something like that, or whatever else. And then at the end, like, Phantasmo did more cheating. Like, Leo Rush had him dead to rights almost, and he goes for a 450 splash on top rope. Phantasmo gets his knees up. As he gets his knees up into Leo Rush's ribs, he then proceeds to kick Leo Rush with double kick him into the ref, into the corner. Leo Rush comes out the corner, thumb to the eye, punch to the dick, and then a roll up for the win.
Were there any moonsault back rakes in this?
There was a back rake spot, but the douchey thing that Phantasmo did in this match was he hits a soul butt to Leo Rush that puts Leo Rush down to his knees, and then he goes, sets him up like he's going to give him like a Tiger Driver or a power bomb or a pedigree, and his back is facing the hard cam, and the Phantasmo goes, right, hard, he says, my bad, hard cam. And then lets go, turns around, faces the camera, and then goes to do a move, but Leo Rush turns it into a cradle. But it was like, he's such an asshole that he's making hard cam jokes during his match. Like, he is one of the great shithead heels in wrestling. He really is. And, like, I understand Josh doesn't like him that much, or has something about, there's something he does not like, but I'm sorry, like, when you do stuff like that, you do stuff like the moonsaulting back rake, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that dude ain't nice. He is. He just is. But yeah, I flash forward to it or whatever else, but like, yeah, Phantasmo ended up winning the tournament. So it'll be him versus, Hiromu, which another match should be very good.
That should be awesome.
Yeah. So the only thing left is Stardom.
Well, hit the music.
So, Stardom is in wrap-up mode. They are fast approaching their Osaka Indian Arena show on the 20th. So that's next Sunday. Mostly what they've done to build this run-up is put Shuri in tags with Julia because they face each other in a double title match between the white belt and the SWA belt, and they've been also tagging Utami and Momo this whole run, and then like this week is when they actually do the prelude battles when they're actually face each other in tags. Problem is Azumi injured her thumb, so she is going to miss or she missed this show from today, and she also is going to miss the Corkin Hall on the 16th, so I think that's like Thursday. But so they had to make some adjustments, but ultimately it's still the same. Like Momo will face Utami in a couple like triple threats or made up tags, but that's what they've done. And then in the third program has been Mayu and Starlight Kid with another member of Stars versus Tam's Cosmic Angels trio that's inside of Stars, and they are building this as if like it's going to lead to a resolution where they face each other on the Osaka show, and it will be the end of Tam and Stars, which is going to make me very sad because Tam and Mayu's friendship is one of my favorite things in wrestling. They love each other. They support each other. They're there for ups and downs and all of that. You can almost see them at times, and you also see this with Tam or with Mayu and Starlight Kid, where like their successes and their big wins or whatever else, like Mayu's just so over the moon and happy for them. But Tam is part of the top 4, and I guess it's time for her to get her own faction. But yeah. So, today, they had a show in Shinjuku Face. Have you seen, how many shows have you seen of that in that venue? Any?
I can't, it doesn't ring a bell. Like,
okay.
The setting with the name.
Okay, so that's a place that, like, you see a lot of Joshi and a lot of, like, how do I say this? Like the stuff you would see on the Nico, like that is where you see that venue used a lot. Like
a smaller building.
Yeah, it's the best way I can describe it is where was the Shimmer New York show, Shimmer 117? Was it in La Boom?
Yes.
It looks like a bigger version of La Boom. Like, it looks like a cross between La Boom and that place in Brandon where we saw Rick Schwann's last indie show before he went to WWE. It's like a cross of that where it's like, it's basically a club. It looks like a club with a dance floor in the dead center, and like there's four stairways to go up, and like it's elevated further out up the stairs. But it does look cool. So anyway, like the last time, Stardom's only done, this is Stardom's third show they've ever done. The last time they did a show was actually the 2016 Tag League final where EO turned on Mayu. That led to their great feud. But they brought it out like for this particular show before they went going to Kurgan Hall. Like on this card, you had what was originally set up to be a tag match between Donna Del Mondo's top 4. So it's going to be Shuri and Micah versus Julia and Himeka. And they were going to do a tag match between the top 4 of Queen's Quest in the main event, where it was going to be Azumi and Utami versus Momo and Saya, kind of where it's like, all right, there are 2 tag teams in Queen's Quest, and we're going to swap the tag partners for the prelude battle. But Azumi ended up getting hurt, so they ended up turning into a 3-way between Momo, Utami, and Big Saya. So, and then the third match on the card was going to be, second from the top, or third from the top was going to be Cosmic Angels versus Mayu, Starlight Kid, and Little Saya. And also, I think the second match was going to be a 4-way between Oedo Tai. So it was going to be Konami versus B versus Saki versus Natsuko. So like they were, for this match, or for this card that's not even a Korakuen Hall or whatever else, they were going to give you probably like 4 good ass matches. So that happened today. To build up towards the Korakuen Hall card. The Korakuen Hall card has Cosmic Angels versus the Trios champions of Saki, Natsuko, and B. Cosmic Angels have not lost since they've been formed. Tam has lost 1 match, or she's been pinned or submitted in 1 match since the Grand Prix final. So I imagine that they're going to become the Trios champions and to take those to the Breakup of Stars match and put those titles on the line. Their storyline is working out like they're basically gearing towards a split with Stars, and they're kind of like trying to get Lasai to come with them. And Mayu's like, I see y'all trying to get Lasai to come with you. Like, it's bad enough that, like, you know, y'all may be leaving, but you keep Lasai ass where she is, you leave her alone. So, like, they're trying to, you know, they're basically, you know, pulling both Tam's on one side pulling an arm, Mayu's on the other side pulling the other arm. And, you know, so.
They just need to fight or get drafted, one of the two. You know, all this, you know, passive aggressiveness. You know, we need some aggressiveness here.
Well, we didn't have a draft this year because, you know what happened with the year. So many people left, or no longer with us. So,
it was a draft, all right, but it was a shoot. Like we was drafting Julia into the promotion. You know, we was drafting Himeka into the promotion.
Right.
Everybody was getting inducted.
Right. Like the influx of Donna Del Mondo, like it just led to like you didn't really need a draft to freshen things up because it's like we have a fifth faction. We're going to downsize to a 4th faction, and we're pushing the shit out of Queen's Quest and Donna Del Mondo all year. So it's like we ain't got to worry about that. Like we're gonna have, you know, Donna Del Mondo versus Queen's Quest be like the top thing of the year as far as the faction warfare. So we ain't got to worry about all that. But I think next year I can see a draft, but this year it wasn't, you know, given the lack of shows, given the talent that left, talent that came in, it was fresh enough that it didn't need it this year. But yeah, so, you know, we'll see what happens, with the show that happened today. We'll see what happens with the Korakuen Hall show, on Thursday. And, you know, we'll probably be on air again before we even get to the, Sunday show, but I'm expecting a great show, another great show. Like, you know, you saw the whole show from the 14th show of November, so I think the show could be better.
Yeah, man. I'm still kind of sitting over here thinking about Tanahashi and the Great Okan. Tanahashi went from wrestling Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega to Chris Jericho to the Great Okan. Hey, maybe it'll be great.
Maybe
when it's not.
Look,
or if it's not,
this is what I will say to you, right? So another news for more news for Stardom. Their Budokan Hall show that is their 10th anniversary show that's going to be on, I think it's March 3rd, 2021. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a battle royal in it, and in it will be Yuzuki Akawa. It'll be her first official wrestling match since she retired in 2013. That's when they did the Sumo Hall show to send her off with. And it's also noted that there will be other notable Joshi legends that are also semi-retired also in it. So we'll see who's involved, but like that's the first thing they have from a newsworthy standpoint. I think she's probably the first person in Stardom that did a shit ton of kicks. So I don't think you've ever seen her. I don't think her best stuff is as good as Arisa Oshiki stuff, but like she'll kick the shit out of you at least. But we'll see where that goes. But it is funny because I want to say a couple months ago, I think I saw a video of her because she has her YouTube channel. Because she's like she was a model and then decided to get into wrestling. That's how Rossi got the backing to do this with her in Stardom. So she's now she's retired. She's kind of like has a lifestyle of similar to like the Bella Twins, whereas like I'm an influencer, right? So she showed up to the Seedling Gym with Nanai and Yoshiko. And they had like a little goofy practice match, right? So it's like, she's been like training with Seedling, the Seedling folks, the ones that have been banished to the Shadow Realm from Stardom after what happened in 2015. And then like after get she in shape, we go back years. Yeah, thanks, Yoshiko. Thanks, Nana. Yeah, I'm about to go back to Stardom. Or at least for one match. It's like, so you was training with us. To go, you used us. We've been had, we've been scammed, hoodwinked, let us stray, run amok. But yeah, I just thought that shit was funny.
Remember when they started giving John Cena goofy WrestleMania matches?
Ooh, yeah. He left. Telling you, bro. when this Ace Pro Wrestling starts, I'm telling you.
The trajectory is there.
Telling you. Yeah.
Oh, y'all done with me?
Yeah, I was thinking about it like, okay, so can you imagine, right? Wrestle Kingdom, or Wrestle Kingdom is a bigger show of the year. Like, you imagine, like, if, I'm trying to think of what would be the accurate example of what this is. Can you imagine if they took the belt off? I got it. They took the belt off Mayu, right, in November. And then, like, you get to the March 3rd show, and, like, she's, like, in the third match, and she's, like, wrestling, like, I don't know. She's, like, wrestling, like, Micah. That's probably insulting to Micah, but, like, I can't think of what, let's see, who I can think of as lower? Like, I can't even think of that. Who would it be? Who would be somebody that'd be that low on the card that was like it's an insult to put her in a match with? I can't even think of it. But Mike could be way better than who?
I think they're going to be third from the top that day.
You think so?
Yeah.
But it is Tanahashi, so you kind of it's the 4th or the 5th.
The 4th.
I don't think so, bro.
Because think about it. And Naito and Ibushi.
Right.
Okada and Ospreay.
Right.
And it's that. You're not going to put Hiromu over him.
That's true.
Tag team match, you're not going to put that in front of him.
But
I think it's the third one.
What day is Evil Sonata?
The 5th.
Okay. I feel like there'll be some like clusterfuck tag match that could be in front of it, but maybe I'm wrong. But like, because that seems like for a third match from the top for Wrestle Kingdom, even if it is a 2-day event, that seems pretty weak. It is Tanahashi, so he's bound to like slap us in the face with a 4.5, but still.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, I guess that's the end of the show. You got anything else?
So, I put a tweet out that said "Free Tanahashi" with the graphic of Tanahashi versus Okan. Someone that follows me, I guess, you know, I'm actually looking forward to this match.
Bro, I didn't ask you. I don't care.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Like, that's all.
All right. That's it of the show. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. And also check out the other shows on the network on Sundays, Mondays, One Nation Radio, Mondays, Tuesdays, Keepin It Strong Style, Wednesdays, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast, every other Wednesday, Grow and Watch This Shit, Thursdays, the Grave Consequences Podcast, Fridays, 8-Bit Suplex, Saturdays, All Things Elite, and Sundays, Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.